It is 2184, 1 year after the shocking destruction of the SSV Normandy and the loss of Commander Shepard, Earth's first Spectre. But however many tears are shed, the loss of a hero never halts the world. Nowhere is that so evidently true as on Omega, the busiest spaceport in the Terminus systems, which barely pauses for a moment to internalize the news. Once an old mining hub, Omega is now a neon-soaked metropolis, home to the diligent, the duplicitous, and the many for whom those two terms are not mutually exclusive. Among those are the members of Driftwood Solutions, a mercenary outfit a fraction the size of the competition, but with twice the bite. And today those mercs will ply their trade in Deimos Sector. Deimos was once a bustling commercial district, but last year, the sector's Batarian and Volus inhabitants went to war. Fresh recruits skulk through alleys lit only by the firebombs they carry. Skewed gunfire flickers against the cavernous ceilings above. Hired guns work both sides of the conflict, counting the credits against the dead and deciding that the math works out in their favor. But beyond the battlefield is a research lab with a simple sign, Grail Genomics. The doors are barred, the windows shuttered. A lone camera pans across the street out front, and for a moment it is the most peaceful place on Omega. Then, from the alley beside the lab, there is a sudden cough, and then the sound of metal on concrete as a Hale Kadar Loki model security mech crawls its way into the middle of the street, revealing that it has been frayed into metallic ribbons from the torso down. And after it coughs again, there are words, the sort of words that a Hale Kadar Loki model security mech should not know. Our king is coming, it says to no one at all. Our king is coming, and his domain is death itself. Only Driftwood will be able to solve the mystery of Grail Genomics. And if you want to find out what they find out, then join me, Austin Walker, and a great cast of players on Saturday, November 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific, as I run a Forged in the Dark take on Mass Effect to celebrate N7 Day. Well, here we are at 2 p.m. Pacific on November 7th to celebrate N7 Day. I'm Austin Walker. I am joined by an incredible cast of people who we'll go over in just a moment. And we're here to play a game that is fondly called Omniblades in the Dark, which is a hack of John Harper's incredible Blades in the Dark, a game that you should become familiar with if you're not already. And that hack was primarily developed by Noel Borstad, Brennan Holmes, Mika. This says Snacky, which I'm guessing here is a pronunciation guide, and John Renish, who provided the pronunciation guide for Mika Snacky. So welcome to everyone who's here to watch and celebrate, and welcome to all of my players who I will go over in, let's go the most dramatic fashion here in counterclockwise order according to my Zoom screen here. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what your history with Mass Effect is, and maybe give me your character name for now. We'll talk about who those characters are in a moment. But Boldwin, how about you first?
Hi, I'm Boldwin Li. I'm a gameplay designer. I'm currently working on AI design and Dragon Age. I worked on Mass Effect 2 and 3 and a bit on Andromeda. And Mass 3, like working with the people on that team was an awesome experience, and it was my most favorite time in game dev so far. I'll be playing Cabus Mellus, Turian engineer.
Do you want to share the name of your Turian engineer's drones for everyone so we just immediately start internalizing this?
Bubble and Bobble are his tech drone and his combat drone, and he loves them. Perfect.
Good. Next up, Ali, can you tell us about yourself?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Ali Acampora. I'm a producer for Friends at the Table. I have been a very big Mass Effect fan for years. I guess the funniest anecdote that I have is that I was moving before we were doing this, and I was like, oh, here's the wallet on my desk that I only keep my Social Security card and the Cerberus membership card from the Mass Effect 2 Special Edition, because they're very important to me. So yeah, that's me.
Your SSN and your Cerberus card, basically the same thing. Yeah.
The one thing I have to grab if there's a fire in my house. I'm going to be playing Kara Tennell today. She's I guess we don't have to get into it right now.
We'll get into it, and we'll get into it in a moment. All right, Kat, you're up next.
Hey, my name is Kat Barkwell. I'm an RPG programmer at BioWare. I was but a wee child when I first played Mass Effect, but it was one of my favorite games, and it's a dream to be working at a studio that was so influential to me as a kid. Today, I'm going to be playing Max Rowley, who is a human infiltrator, I believe is my class name. Yeah, is that all the bullet points? Did I hit them?
I think you're good. You're good. Awesome. Next up, Jennifer Hale, welcome to the table.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm thrilled to be here. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm really excited about it.
It'll go great.
I've done 1 or 2 voiceovers. I like it. It's fun. People are nice. I love Mark Meer. He's awesome. Fun. Mark, can I tell him the story of your answering machine?
Oh, yes, please.
I called Mark yesterday with a question, and I don't know if you've changed the message or if I just hadn't noticed before. I literally had to call back because I was laughing so hard I couldn't speak. That's how funny this human being. Anyway, happy to be here. Today, I am Razulocus. I am Solarian scientist. Very excited to be here. You needed
Perfect.
That. I knew that.
Next up, as you noted, Mark Meer joining us.
Hello, I'm Mark Meer, and I love Jennifer Hale.
That's it. That's the whole intro. You nailed it.
Like Jennifer, I also played Commander Shepard in the Mass Effect trilogy, and I was also fortunate enough to get to play certain alien species. For example, the Vorcha. I'm all of them, so I figured I might as well play a Vorcha in this. I'll be playing a Vorcha named Vrock.
Can't wait. I am Austin Walker. As I said up top, I am the GM and host of Friends at the Table, which is a podcast. It's an actual play podcast focused on critical world building, smart characterization, and fun interaction between good friends. You can find out more about that at friendsathetable.net. We have a Patreon. We have a friends_table on Twitter. If you end up liking what we do today, go check that stuff out. Ali produces it. I host it. And so hopefully you'll find something there that you like. I note those things, fun interaction between good friends, smart characterization, and critical world building, because those are still kind of the big things I want to bring to the table today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to tell a story in the Mass Effect universe that's set kind of at the very, the very beginning of the Mass Effect 2 timeline, in between the destruction of the Normandy and the completion of the Lazarus Project. I guess what I'll say is I don't believe any of this is canon, so please do not expect me to drop any big story bombs or anything like that. But I do think it's a lot of fun. What I've written down, what I've prepped for, should be a blast. Before we get too much further, I do also just want to break and say a few things about how I hope that we can kind of operate the game today and kind of behave at the table, so to speak. A couple of things is that we want to play this at kind of a PG-13 level. There was a thread before the game started in which I kind of outlined what a lot of us call lines and veils inside of the tabletop role-playing game community. Really heavy material, like abuse or gore or anything like that is kind of across the line for us. We're not going to go too deep in terms of describing the gruesome details of combat or having the sorts of terrible outcomes that you might see in a mature rated, primetime drama or something like that. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be fighting. That doesn't mean that there might not be death. There might be probably lots of explosions, etc. But we're going to aim for that PG-13 thing. Likewise, if you want to kiss someone, go for it. Mass Effect is nothing if not a locus of romance in my heart. But we will pull the veil on anything more dramatic than that. On top of that, it's important for me to say that I think the number one element of getting a game to go well is to make sure everyone at the table is comfortable and that their consent is fully recognized. If a scene is ever getting into territory you don't want to see any more of, you can either speak up and say, hey, can we kind of slow down here and talk through what's happening? You can tell me privately that you would like the scene to stop. You can put an X in the chat to just quickly communicate, hey, I don't like this. Super important to understand those rules because those are what provide us with foundation for great role play and for role play that's exciting for everyone, because we all know that we're not going to stumble into something that we don't like. Again, my expectation is not to travel down many of those roads, but I'd rather have those ground rules set up. Also, we're going to take some breaks throughout so that people can run to the bathroom or get a snack or get some coffee or whatever it is you need. Comfort is super important, not just in the question of consent and content, but also just like, hey, we're human beings with human bodies or Solarian bodies or Vorcha bodies. And all of those things need maintenance. And so just let us know. Let me know at any point if you need to take a break, and we'll figure out how we can quickly get there. Finally, I guess last two things. One, if there's any rules that confuse you, and you have a question, raise the question. That no one here is supposed to be an expert. This is a game that I think many people in our audience have not played, or the style of game before, and so it's possible that you're asking a question that lots of other people, either at the table or in the viewing audience, might also have, and that means that you can be the kind of vector for clarification for everybody involved, and that's always a good thing. So raise your hand, pause me while I'm talking. If you don't understand a rule, I'm happy to break it down for you. And last but not least, let's all just try our best to stay engaged no matter where the spotlight is at any point in time. I always describe tabletop role-playing games as a combination of kind of rules-based conversations, improv stages, and then kind of like a television writer's room or a video game writer's room. You want to be invested. You want to cheer on the rest of your party. You want to get hyped when things are going well, and even when things are going bad, as long as it's in a cinematic and dramatic way. I am a fan of the players. I'm not a hostile GM. I'm not someone who believes that the GM's role is to punish their players. Instead, I really want to kind of facilitate a great story and make sure that we can come together and do something memorable here. So that's the high level. Are there any questions at that scale of the conversation?
I'll be the question master because I know nothing.
Perfect. So let me give you a little bit more, reiterate a little bit what was said in that intro. The kind of TLDR on this is that the group of you are all members of a kind of upstart mercenary crew called Driftwood Solutions. Driftwood was founded by a veteran Turian combatant named Aureus Vox. Vox, retired from the military or stepped back from the Turian military because he was not particularly pleased with some decisions that the kind of higher ups in the military made. Without going too deep into the lore, I would say that if you know what happened on Torfin, which I believe is tied to the ruthless background of Shepard in Mass Effect 1, let's just say Vox was not pleased with how brutal that kind of combat scenario turned out to be. And so he broke off and started his own group. And over the last 5 years, he's slowly been recruiting people, including all of you, into this kind of mercenary band. You're tiny. You have a kind of light Corvette of your own, smaller than the Normandy by far. I think it probably has the 5 of you plus Commander Vox plus a pilot and then a handful of other kind of maintenance and support staff people. But it is not a huge vessel. It is not a warship, but it gets you where you need to go. And you've been doing missions together for a number of years. I maybe the most recent recruit has been a few months. It was a few months ago, but you all know each other enough to, if not fully trust each other, you've all had some instance where you've had each other's back. We don't need to come into this with any sort of inter-party hostility, not because that can't be fun. People who've listened to Friends of the Table know that I love that. But when we only have one session together, it's a little bit harder to make things move together. I guess at this point would be a good point to kind of go over your characters and talk a little bit about who you are, what your names are, what your expertises are, and anything else you'd like us to know about your characters. Let's do clockwise order this time. So Mark, tell me more about Vrock.
Vrock, as mentioned, is a Vorcha. I believe that he is a former member of the Blood Pack and was probably recruited to Driftwood Solutions with the promise that he wouldn't be a small fish over at Driftwood. There's more opportunity for advancement and whatnot. So he's worried about climbing the corporate ladder. He's not really a corporate type, though. Vrock is pretty much a straight-up combat monster, specifically close combat, with his double-pronged Omniclaw, which is a modified Omniblade. And he also, I do have a prop. He tends to pack a blood pack shotgun.
A little souvenir from his time with the pack. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
There's still some blood pack insignia on his armor and whatnot, and it's sort of crudely crossed out in Driftwood Solutions in a very, very poor handwriting.
Is it just like a Sharpie, basically?
Yeah, basically. The equivalent of a Sharpie. Yeah.
I love it. All right, Jennifer, can you tell me a little bit more about Razu, who I know is a Solarian scientist?
Razu Locus, Solarian scientist, family, many generations of cartographers, thus our name, Locus. seeking to create largest existing map of known galaxy, would like to create map with greatest detail, and they love adventure. They're terrified of snails, though. Anything that looks like a snail, anything that represents a snail in any other galaxy, will send them into a panic attack, and you'll find them hiding under a desk, with lots of plastic underneath.
Incredible.
Kind of doing your Solarian grammar and your English pronunciation, so I'm a little confused there. But...
Okay,
all right.
I knew you needed that.
Kat, you're up next.
Sweet. All right. So my character is Max Rowley. She is a human. And being the infiltrator class, she's like pretty sneaky, which is counter to her personality, which gets very excited at good things. She's also very like greedy. Like she joined Driftwood because she loves like getting a bunch of money and blowing it. Her vice is like gambling. She loves playing poker. She's not very good at it. And she mostly likes to just like at the table steal other people's stuff is her real play. But anyways, yeah, that's why she joined Driftwood. Hopefully that's enough.
Perfect. No, that's definitely enough. Ali?
I'm going to be playing Kara Tennell today, who is a drill diplomat. Diplomats in the system are like people who can kind of get through things socially. They have a lot of connections. So I think of her as sort of Omega born and raised. She has some kind of loyalty to the place here. She runs a like a blog about Omega, which I think I'm calling the Daily Omega.
Love it.
I've been thinking it a little bit of like, if you've heard of Humans of New York, which is something that just like takes a picture of someone in New York and a little story about them. I imagine her being like, here's the Batarian guy who makes the sandwiches that go into the vending machines. Here's an anecdote about him. So she's great. I'm excited to play her.
The Batarian guy is like really mad about like the increase in like parking taxes or something, or that's a long diatribe. Yes, exactly. Yeah, totally. All right, Bolden, you're up next, or last, I guess, in this case.
I'm playing Cabus Malus, who is a corporal in the Turian army, and he was like a demolitions expert who was honorably discharged. Applied for the Spectre program, but was rejected, and he thinks it's all because of that sarin incident. So he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Maybe he's fallen in with some ne'er-do-wells, and Commander Vox must have picked him up on the...
Yeah. I think that's perfect, right? Vox definitely heard that you were going up for the Spectre status, thinks it was unfair that you didn't get it, probably agrees that the Saren situation kind of kept you out of the running, which is unfair, and said, hey, you know what, it's not being a Spectre, but how about you come ply your trade with us, Really quick, before we actually continue even further, I would love to just go over everyone's personal pronouns and their character pronouns, just so we have it all together up top here. My name's Austin Walker again. I use he, him. Vox, who is your commander, is also he, him. Mark?
I am he, him, and so is Rock.
Okay, Jennifer?
I am she, her, and Razu is they, them.
Cool. Kat?
I am she, her, and my character is also she, her.
Ali?
I'm she, her, and Kara is also she, her.
And Boldwin?
I'm he, him, and so is my character.
Awesome. Great. So, that intro that played a little earlier ended with the description of a Loki mech, which if you don't remember are the kind of humanoid mechs from Mass Effect 2 and 3, made by the Hanakadar Corporation, crawling out into the middle of a street in an Omega station sector and saying, our king is coming, and his domain is death itself. Your characters see that video yourselves as you stand around a holographic display table in the war room of your light corvette, which is called the Copenhagen, named for the famously missing ship, not just for the city. Presumably the ship was named for the city, but this one also named for the ship. Standing at the head of that table is your commander, Aureus Vox, who is a middle-aged Turian who bears the kind of telltale scars of someone who's fought on the front lines. He has like the same sort of grayish carapace you would recognize on any Turian, but his is kind of flecked with kind of reds and maroons. You're not sure if that's natural coloring or if that's tattoo work or what, but it's very distinctive for him. And his demeanor, is always he's the sort of person who plans things a few moves ahead. He is always kind of looking at the long game, and that's kind of what's kind of let him be successful as an independent, mercenary contractor out here in the hard streets, the rough streets of Omega. And as you're watching this footage of this mech crawl through the streets, broken from the waist down, he kind of narrates a little bit. He says, "We received this footage from Ms. Malediction." Now, you all know that Malediction is a code name for a client of yours. You've done some jobs for her before. You've never met her in person. You're not sure if Vox has, but she's been reliable. She gives you the sort of jobs that are kind of pretty straightforward, whether that's a smash and grab or, rescuing a VIP or, the sort of stuff that has a clear mission objective and a clear end goal. You do it, you get out, you get paid, you go out, you go out on the town to celebrate. Simple stuff. Vox continues to say, Malediction says that this place, Grail Genomics, it's owned by a client of hers. Before the Demos sector turned into a battlefield, Grail was apparently working on some cutting-edge stuff. But then the fighting started and the facility went dark. Malediction wants us to head into Demos, get past that fighting, find a way into the facility, recover the research, and return it to her. And then he takes a beat as if to kind of signal that he doesn't necessarily like this next part. If the facility has been compromised, whether that is from one of the warring factions in Demos or a competing medical technology company or anything else, well, we are going to need to deal with whoever's there. Malediction is pretty adamant that this research would be deadly if it fell into the wrong hands. There's also a bit of a clock on this one. If that mech is any indication, something's gone really wrong in that lab. Who knows what will happen if we drag our feet on this? Any immediate questions, team?
To punctuate this, Vrock racks his shotgun and just sort of smiles as Vorcha do and says,
"Okay, boss. Who you need Vrock to kill?"
I love your commitment, Rock. We're not quite sure yet. In fact, you might not. There's a chance you won't need to kill anyone. There's a better chance you'll have to kill a few people. Anyone else?
Razu reaches into back pocket and says, "Great-grandfather has map of area. Great-grandfather part of building said structure. Aware of composition, if useful."
Extremely useful. I will, in fact, bring up that map that Razu has. Boom. All right. I think, Vox is going to kind of go over the general rundown of what Demos sector looks like. So this is Demos sector. To the northwest, you see where the Batarians are set up. It's a bunch of high rises. It gives them tactical overwatch. It gives them a great deal of ambush potential throughout the district. To the south, the Volus clans have set up in a bunch of abandoned warehouses that they've taken over and converted into living spaces and military barracks. Down the center...
As the Volus are mentioned, Vrock just suddenly pipes up,
"Gas bags, always wheezing."
In fact, they're always wheezing, and there's another reason you might be... We'll get there, Vrock. Down the center, east to west, there's Ruby Road. Ruby Road is called that because at the far end, at the east, is a big materials import-export shop that has a gaudy, giant red gem on top of it. And then Vox hits a button and reveals kind of a different shot of this kind of big import-export kind of, precious metals and the sort of stuff that you would, for instance, probe a planet for and recover, and then you'd have to sell that somewhere. Well, this is one of those places where all your palladium ends up being sold along with any other sorts of precious metals or gems. And it's this huge red, again, very gaudy jewel that kind of casts itself over all of the rest of Ruby Road, which Ruby Road is kind of a big open air marketplace that's filled with dozens of little several shops, little carts. There are now abandoned, clothing stores that have been turned into bunkers for people on the Volus side to kind of, head into and fight across the road at the Batarians. There are overturned cars that have been used for cover. There are bombed out, gun shops, stuff like that. There's a high-end ship, like a spaceship dealer that has been just completely destroyed, but all of the big models of the various spaceship classes that you can use have been put up, kind of tactically as ways of breaking lines of sight from across the road. So it's a mess out there, and it's all kind of lit in this kind of red overlight. It's almost as if you had the red that goes underneath cars, the sort of like red neon underlighting. It's like what if you lit an entire district like that, and so Vox kind of goes over that in the big way, and then says, whether you go through the Batarian high rises, through the Volus warehouses, or if you try to cut through Ruby Road itself, you're going to end up at the depots. Somewhere in there is Grail Genomics. We don't have a particular spot. The general maps that your grandfather had, they don't give us a specific location. We have the footage from Malediction, but that doesn't give us anything explicit. So when you get there, you're going to have to find the place for yourselves. And then we don't know. There's no public records, or if there are any, they're hidden really well, of what's inside of Grail. So sadly, I'm sending you in blind on this one. Also, as I just said, I'm sending you in. There's something fishy about this one, and I'm going to spend some time chasing some other leads. I'll be in contact, and if you need anything, you stay in touch. All right. So at this point in the game, you are kind of entering a section where you can kind of prepare for what you want to do. Vox is giving you authority to kind of take this mission on as you please. And Omniblades in the Dark, like most Forge in the Dark games, really emphasizes getting into the action quickly. With a lot of tabletop RPGs, you'd see a setup like this and you'd go, okay, let's sit here for the next hour and try to plan a precision strike that'll keep us safe, and we can go over every single step. Forge in the Dark games want to get you into the action a little bit quicker. They want to imagine that your characters are doing all that planning, but you, the players, don't have to. And the way that you do that, the way they kind of enable that is two things. One is a thing called the engagement roll, which just kind of says, here's how things kicked off to begin with. Are you in a bad spot, or are you in a pretty controlled position? You'll need a little bit of a setup. You might say, hey, we're gonna drive a Mako down Ruby Road and just see how it goes. Or you could say, hey, we're gonna try to talk our way past the Batarians, something like that. The other thing that you have available to you is a system called the flashback system. Again, it's assumed that you're all professionals, and so you've prepared for this already. And by spending an in-game resource called stress, which we'll talk about some more as we continue to play, you're able to, at any time in play, tell me, hey, actually, I was ready for this. We anticipated this problem, and we had a solution already prepared for it. Whether that is, you asked an ally to come pick you up with an airship, or if it was simply, hey, I'm wearing some extra armor underneath my clothes or something like that. So those things let us move forward instead of pausing here indefinitely. That said, if, for instance, you wanted to learn more about the situation on the ground, or if you wanted to, do some sort of legwork or investigation, or ask some more follow-up questions, now is the time to do that, because that'll help you decide how you want to engage with the situation. One more thing that I forgot to wrap back around on. I think after doing this whole setup, Vox says the other thing. As you know, Rock, the Volus aren't frontline warriors. So they've contracted the Blood Pack to fight this fight for them.
Blood Pack.
Maybe you don't need to go head to head with them, but just in case, I know there's a little bad blood. So be prepared.
Yes, Vrock's brother Rick is still with Blood Pack. always standing in my way of promotion.
I do have a report that Rick is on the front lines, Rock, and, brotherly violence, I guess, runs in the family, but just be careful.
Vrock proposed driving Mako down Ruby Road.
That's one definition of careful, I guess. The Mako is armored.
It's like the knot that could not be untied. Cut it in half.
Rock, I didn't know you were such an expert in ancient Earth myth.
Vrock read the Ozymandias chapters of Watchmen.
Rock read out loud at bar for many hours. We enjoyed greatly.
Yeah.
Vrock do all the voices.
Rock, very good.
Can I get a, or do you only the Ozymandias chapters? So no Rorschach. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's move into this kind of legwork. But please.
Vrock can do Rorschach. Dead dog in middle of alley. Tire track on burst stomach. Huh?
That's a pretty good Rorschach, I'll say it. Rock nailed it.
Now we'll do Silk Spectre.
Okay.
Silk Spectre, love you, John.
There's a lot of nuance to the performance.
Yes.
All right. So, does anyone want to take some additional steps here to investigate the situation before you all, I guess, climb into your, army surplus Mako and do what Vrock has suggested?
Is everybody agreeing with Vrock? Because
no one said no yet.
I was actually kind of curious how the Volus fight, but now they have Blood Pack.
There's rumors that there's a really powerful Volus biotic out there somewhere who's really changing.
If you say so.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm pretty sure it's true.
Would love more detail on district. Anxious to proceed.
So, Razu, this is a great place to start. Do you want to maybe do a little extra research on the district and try to get some additional information using some sort of, do you have some sort of cartography network or access to public records or anything like that?
Yes, public records uploaded in my memory.
Okay,
Public
there's a very simple role in Roll20 called a gather information role. The way that works is you take the skill that you will be using, you roll that skill, and then you get to ask me some questions based on whatever it is you're researching. It's an easy way to show off the dice because if things go bad, it's not the end of the world. There's not heavy consequences. It just limits the amount of information you'll end up finding. In this case, what I would say is that you should roll your research score. In Blades in the Dark, in Omniblades in the Dark, there are 12 actions, and each action has a specialty. So for instance, you have 3 in assess, which means you're really good at being on the ground and taking in a space and putting things together. You have a 1 in research, which means you're pretty good at lining things up, looking at documents, looking at maps, and learning from that. Comparatively, you have a 0 in melee, which means if Razu is ever in a fist fight, probably not the person you're going to want throwing the punches.
I stand behind Brock.
To do this research, what we're going to do is take the action that you have here, which is research, and you're going to roll as many dice as you have points in it. And what you're looking for is a high number. In Omniblades in the Dark and in most Forge in the Dark games, you're rolling d6s equal to however many actions you have in that skill. In this case, you have 1, so you're going to roll 1d6. If you get a 6, that's awesome. That's a complete success. If you get a 4 or 5, it's kind of a mixed success. You don't get as much as you want, but it is what it is. And a 1 to 3, on a roll like this, you're just not going to get as much. You're going to get a very little amount of information. Not nothing, but you're not going to really blow the hinges off the thing.
It's clear.
Go ahead and give me a 1d6.
Click now.
Ooh. Not a great result, but I can tell you why that is. You rolled a 1, and Razu, you noticed something, because you're an expert in this, very weird, which is, I'd say
Rock?
you see Rock, the weirdest thing possible. No. You see that about a year ago, all of the maps that are uploaded to the Omega Station servers were replaced seemingly by identical maps, but you know that if that happens, something is wrong here. I think the biggest thing that you see is the area in the depots has been kind of like there's less detail as you zoom in. Things get blurry. It's almost like, you ever use Google Maps and you do that thing where you zoom up or down a level and it's still the wrong scale of image and it's all blurry? It's almost like it's just heavily compressed when you try to zoom in more. So someone messed with the maps on this sector about a year ago, which is bad. However, you do get a little bit more detail. I'm going to say basically that by doing this research, you're going to get a bonus when you do your engagement, because you kind of have a better idea generally of where the ambush points are, where the general vicinity of where soldiers might be, or the kind of heavy hitters from the various sides. So it's not a complete waste, but yeah, unfortunately, you don't get anything bonus for this.
No bonus. The
Sorry,
access
everybody.
points. See several access points. Perhaps the shades of some waste system under building. Not certain. Looking at waste system to assess potential accessibility.
That's actually exactly right. And in fact, here's what I'm going to say. You've nailed. It seems as if the waste system, like the waste ducts on the system, are not where they should be. On other sectors of Omega, they're normally at the outskirts and they're clearly marked on the maps, and here they've been removed. So there should be some sort of waste ducts or service entrances, stuff like that, and those have seemingly been removed from this map at closer looking. So yeah, that is definitely one of the things that's been changed here. You don't know who's done it, but weird.
Is there like a computer network that stretches out through the sector or anything like that, or is that kind of covered by
100%? Yeah, no, there totally is. I think all of Omega Station is kind of tied into some sort of central, administrative system. It has been, it's probably been locked down to some degree, but you're an expert engineer. You know how to do some hacking stuff.
For sure.
If you're looking for something specific, you can totally roll the dice here and gather some information and see what you see.
I guess more information about the depots. I guess what our end goal.
Yeah, your end goal. Got you. So yeah, give me a hack roll then. What is your hack skill?
I think I have a 1.
All right. So yeah, give me a 1d6 again.
Whoops, that was a D8.
Hey. Oh damn. Hey. Cadmus rolled a d8 instead of a d6, and then rolled a d6 and got a 6. So that's a great success. So this is pretty huge for you. You've locked into so what are you looking for? You're just kind of saying, hey, where is this thing I'm looking for?
Yeah, and any more details about that tactical, otherwise that might give us an advantage.
Totally. So you're looking at the depots, and the depots are just a mess. And I think what you end up able to track is energy usage. On a busy day a year ago, before this fighting all started, the map would have been totally lit up. There would have been energy going to and from every structure. Everyone would have been working on stuff. Maybe there'd be a few dark spots. But in today, in the middle of this fight, most of that energy usage is in the Batarian high rises, Ruby Road, and the Volus warehouses. The depots are basically dark, except for one spot, which is shining so bright that it doesn't even make sense to you. There's an energy pull from one of these spots. Let's say that it is this structure here in the back right, that is way larger than it has any right to be. There is, in other words, I think it's like it's the equivalent of looking at, a small walk-in clinic that has the energy output of a fully operational hospital. So that immediately tells you something is wrong there. And what I'm going to give you from that is basically, exactly where Grail Genomics is, which is going to kind of help you with the second step of this. Once you get to the depots, you'll have a general direction of where you're going, and that'll save you a lot of time. Awesome. With a 6, you get a follow-up question, because that's how good your hacking went. So do you have anything else you want to ask?
If we're going to go through, what's at the end of the Ruby Road again?
That is that kind of big import-export precious materials warehouse, or like exchange. It's like on a good day, again, a year ago, you would have had, it would have almost been like going to Wall Street or something, except that people are yelling about the price of EZO and diamonds instead of yelling about stock prices,
And that's all dark. According
That
to
is
this
all.
reading.
That is, I'd say that it's not totally dark, but it has. It's clear people are passing through it, but it's not a hub of activity.
Can we try to trace a safer route through either the high rises or the warehouses to go there?
So yeah, you can. Well, what I'll give you here is. Again, what I'm going to do is give you a bonus on what your engagement roll is if you choose to use one of those two things. There is not a totally safe route through either of these places. Sure. These are really dug in. And here's the thing that's just true about the way this game works is it's fiction first, which means that to do something, you have to do it in the game. And if you can't do something, there's no dice roll that's going to make it possible. There is no equivalent. There are critical hits in this game. If you roll 2 6s, you do extremely well. But there's no roll that is going to make it so that there is a single perfect straight shot through, the HQ of your enemy. Because in some ways that would ruin the drama of needing to pass through it. But what I will give you is, if you choose to try to pass through the Batarian high-rises or through the Volus warehouses, you again will kind of get a positional bonus based on this information that you've got. So yeah, I think in this case you're able to tell that certain buildings here are not as heavily manned as some of the other ones. Rock?
While Cabus is doing this valuable research and getting really good results, Vrock is going to sort of be leaning over his shoulder and just going like,
drive Mako straight down the road. It's a good plan.
And then slightly going over to the other shoulder and going like,
yes, good idea. I agree with Brock.
Actually, if we take this alley here, and it'll be a little safer. I don't know if you understand the tactical use of that.
Amazing. No, apparently not. All right. Anyone else want to do anything here? You don't just have to do it from the ship. If you want to give me a shot of you asking around at a bar, if you want to talk to me about something you've done elsewhere. Okay.
Hello.
Kara, I know that you're a bit of a gossip hound. Tell me how you get into this.
I wanted to see if there's like bolstered defenses in the area, either with people working for Grail or with like Batarians and stuff. I think the way that I want to do that is to like go to the afterlife and see like what's going on with the regulars. Are people recruiting people? Are people tipping better because it seems like they have a better job now because they're recruited to do this thing? So I'm going to go hang out.
Awesome. Yeah. That's a great idea. Give me a roll. That to me sounds like you're either doing charm or compel, which are two of the major actions in what is called the resolve tree in Forged in the Dark, or in Omniblades in the Dark in this case. To break it down a little bit more for you, charm is when you're trying to influence someone with your charisma. Compel is when you're trying to convince someone with guile or argument. So are you being kind of like a charming, kind of gal about town, or are you trying to kind of scheme your way into some information?
I think I'm trying to be charming.
Okay. Well, then give me your charm roll.
Sure.
Which is 2d6, the highest roll we've seen so far. And guys, incredible. This is again a gather information roll, which means there aren't hard consequences here. This isn't an action roll. You're not going to get punched in the face here.
But what I do, honestly, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Get rid of those rolls. What I will say is, when you start asking around, things are colder than you thought they would be. You did think you would get people tipping extra, kind of like having money, because normally when there's a fight like this, and it's happened in Omega before, what you end up with is the mercs who live end up, with a lot of cash in their pockets. And I mean, they do have some cash in their pockets because they are kind of drinking away their sorrows. But what you pick up on again and again is that the cost of fighting seems higher in terms of death. People are dying and going missing on missions inside of the sector at a rate higher than they should be. It's almost as if, mercenaries have a pretty good idea of what sort of difficulty they're getting into, what sort of trouble they're in. In this case, it's almost as if people are going missing more than they are being killed in combat. And you don't know if that's people defecting, if that's people if it is just that bloody and that brutal, if it's the fact that parts of this sector are a maze and people just aren't, being found after they've been killed in combat or what. But that's the bit of information you get here. And you do get ushered out of Afterlife. I think someone comes to you and says, you're bringing the party down. We're going to need you to leave. People don't like to talk about their dead friends, Kara. You should know this.
Yeah, my bad.
There's like a Batarian bouncer, basically.
We can talk about the Watchmen instead. Let me think it.
No, we're all still recovering from when Brock did a dramatic reading of all the Ozymandias parts.
I think that might actually be the problem, that Vrock tagged along and was loudly doing some dramatic readings and really just harshing your vibe. And...
Yeah, perfect.
Well,
all right.
Razu snuck into the bathroom to check the composition of the floor to see if the waste pipes had in fact been altered.
Okay. Normal for now, at least. Max, you're the only one who hasn't done any sort of legwork here. Do you have any thoughts? Not that you need to, but if you did have any thoughts.
So I'm gonna say, because Max likes money and likes gambling, she probably mostly lives on Omega, that's her vibe.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can swing this. I have high sneak, so would there be a chance that I kind of know the area and would have any idea about the more low key routes to take or anything?
Oh yeah, do you actually want to? You could even yeah, I'll say let's give me a sneak as a gather information. And actually what that could be is you doing some early reconnaissance, nothing too deep, but just sneaking in your own on your own, low profile, before the rest of the team goes in. So yeah, go ahead and give me a sneak check. What is your sneak score?
Let's see what Max finds before we go down Ruby Road. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah, that's
3. Good. So hopefully not 3 ones. So give me 3d6,
right?
You got it. Yep.
Okay.
And again,
I just typed 3d6 instead of roll.
No worries. We're looking for your highest score here, which is a 5. Ooh. So you rolled a 5, a 5, and a 4, and in Blades in the Dark, or in Omniblades in the Dark, you get to keep your highest die most of the time. In this case, it's a 5, which is pretty good. It's a mixed success. It means that you're going to get good information, but not necessarily perfect information. So as you kind of walk through the perimeters here a little bit, what you do find is important. About halfway into the Volus warehouse sector, you find one of those aforementioned missing service entrances. It becomes clear that to you that the Volus are actually moving things in and out of the sector by way of one of these service entrances, which includes kind of waste ducts, big elevators that connect to the rest of Omega. It's how they've been able to keep the blood pack, coming with more and more people. It's how they're able to keep, food and supplies here, because the Batarians have a much stronger hold of the main sector entrance because of their high-rise position, their snipers and Overwatch position, etc. So it's almost as if this is a way for the Volus to stay in this fight. Otherwise, they would have lost this a long time ago. They just have a much weaker tactical position. So that's useful to you. Having that entrance there opens up another possibility of engagement. If you did just want to kind of kick down the back door of Volus HQ, that's now available to you. So nice work. So yeah, you get out safe. It's a lot of pictures of you, or a lot of images of you sneaking around. What's Max look like again?
Max is biracial, and she has these dope ass box braids, but we'll say she ties them into a bun for this, and she's got a trench coat and she puts
Love
it up and everything too. Very sneaky.
Very sneaky, very noir.
Yeah, exactly. Detective stuff. Hard-boiled.
Give me Mass Effect with noir saxophones. Give me hard-boiled.
I can hear it.
Begging you. I love it so much. Give me Mass Effect, but it's about a land deal gone wrong. And anyway, I can't go down this road, otherwise I'll end up writing this fanfic. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, okay. Everyone's done some digging around. At this point, if you want to keep digging around, it's totally fine to keep asking questions. What I will say is, everyone's done something, and when I run Forged in the Dark games, I tend to say, hey, the world moves too. It's not just the players who get to do things. Sometimes the world hits back. And so at this point, if you still want to do some legwork, you still want to investigate, that's totally fine. But what I'm going to do at that point is start kind of ticking a clock towards other things starting to move in the world. So keep that in mind. But alternatively, we could decide on a way of engagement. I guess the two big plans at this point that seem to have surfaced are, sneak in the service entrance behind the Volus warehouses. And Rock, what was your big plan again? Just one more time from the top.
Drive Mako straight down Ruby Road.
Drive Mako
Shoot
straight down
everything. Kill everything.
Kill everything. Yeah, it's a classic plan. I like that plan. I'll be honest. As a GM, I love it.
I would love it if we could go through the Volus warehouses back entrance. I want to see this biotic god for myself.
Max is gonna say too to Rock, be like, Rock, buddy, like if we go in through the service entrance, we can start sneaky, but totally blow this joint for the Volus too.
Yes. Take Blood Pack by surprise. Knife in the back. I like it.
Would like to investigate possibility of going in through waste tunnels.
All right. So it sounds like that's pretty universal. And so now it's time to talk about the way engagement works. In Omniblades in the Dark, I'll just read from the book here. Your crew spends time planning missions, but you, the players, don't need to. Your characters take care of that off screen. Any incidental planning details can be taken care of later through flashbacks. As players, you need to choose how you're engaging the mission, fill in some broad details, and then do an engagement roll. Everyone starts with one die, or not everyone, but the party starts with one die for sheer luck. Everything could work or it might not. Then you're going to get a +1 for every major advantage and a -1 for every major disadvantage. A +1 or a -1 die, not to your result. So let's start with +1. If you're going to do the service entrance plan, give me a little bit of detail. What's it look like for you in this plan to come through these service entrances? Does anyone have like an image in their head of what that looks like?
I'm hoping this is not actually going through the waste ducts and coming through, because I would be.
It is waste ducts. Waste ducts are most efficient. Yes, waste ducts are most efficient.
Razu said it. Waste ducts are most
Seriously, Razu, you can move somewhere without going through the waste ducts. You realize this, right?
Not most efficient, though. Most efficient is processing through waste ducts.
And all the maps of the waste ducts are wrong.
Vent glands are well adjusted for waste ducts. Would one care to borrow pincher? Have extra pinchers for you. To pinch nose. Is pinching nose necessary?
Actually, do this. It'll be pretty necessary.
Waste ducts. Waste ducts will be fine. Waste ducts will be fine. Most Blood Pack mercenaries are covered in bit of excrement anyway.
So Rock is actually going to, ahead of this, he's going to take like some cleanser and take off all the defacing.
This is good.
Yeah,
Oh.
so he's actually now, like, he's all decked out in Blood Pack gear anyway.
This is very clever. I'm going to give you a +1 die for that. That's great.
Okay.
Kara or Max, any other details to this engagement plan? We don't need more, but if there is anything else, let me know.
I don't think she's digging it.
I agree.
Okay.
Max is gonna like lean over to them and be like, "Hey, I hate doo-doo water as much as the next person, but like we gotta do this. We'll be fine. It's temporary. We're gonna have great showers after this. Like it's gonna be good."
My drones are gonna be brown after this. I'm never gonna be able to get that out.
I know Bubble and Bobble are very precious too, but we might just have to do this. Plus, I know Razu is not going to let us do something not efficient.
All right. So you're
Extra
gonna
Metagel. Have stocked extra Metagel for occasion. And
Here we
slime
go.
gel. Have special slime gel for easier removal of waste.
That's pretty good.
I knew you
All
would
right.
eat that.
It sounds like we have the plan then. So it's one die from sheer luck, +1, let's say, because of Rock kind of being almost undercover here. The first ever undercover Vorcha in the galaxy, I believe. And then another +1 from those early that early roll into the maps. And then also for Cabus's hacking. So that's 4 dice, which is a really good roll here. I need one person to kind of take the charge and put it all in their own head and give me the dice roll here. So someone roll 4d6. Let us know you're going to do it so we don't all do it at once.
Anyone rolling? All right.
Sure, I can roll. Or no, you roll because you're more of the tactician.
Camus did some hacking. There is a 6. That's what you love to see. With a 6, it's a good result, which means that when the action kicks off here, you're going to be in what's called a controlled position. In Forged in the Dark games, you have this thing called a position, which represents kind of how the action is going, how safe you are when you're doing stuff. Controlled is the best it gets. It means that when things go bad, they don't go as bad. The other 2 positions are risky and desperate. You can think of the suicide mission at the end of Mass Effect 2 as a desperate position. You can think about the loyalty missions as being risky position, and the introduction of a new character as being kind of controlled. The stakes aren't as high yet. Things aren't going to break as bad as they possibly could. In a given mission, position will bounce around based on outcomes. So, you might start it controlled like you're going to do here. And then you could get some bad rolls and slip further and further into risky and then desperate. Or there are times when you could tell me, hey, actually, I want to be a little riskier. Will that make things go a little bit better for me on the outcome side of things? So keep all that in mind once we resolve all this. For now, let's go into our first break. And I'll leave you with this image, which is that it's the team of Driftwood, I guess, perfectly named for walking down these waste tunnels and then coming to this service entrance from the waste duct, looking out on the red lit Demo sector. The smell is terrible despite the pinchers. And you can see in the distance tracer fire going back and forth on Ruby Road, and you can see below you from this kind of elevated position the members of the Blood Pack kind of talking to each other, pushing each other, kind of like hanging out the way the Blood Pack is wont to between a couple of these big Volus warehouses. And when we come back, we'll pick it up from there. So we will be right back now. All right, we are back with some more Omniblades in the Dark to celebrate N7 Day. Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, Vrock.
Yes.
You know what? Thank you for going the extra mile here with changing your look a little bit.
I mean, I could have gone all the way. But,
I see.
Yeah. Actually, this might make it hard to hear. This was.
I just can't.
That's a mask cover. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll remove that. There we are. Happy
The image
late
is burned
Halloween.
in our minds now.
Yes, 100%. Now we have a visual in our mind's eye theater. It's perfect. So when we last left you'd done your engagement roll. It went really well, which is great. And you're kind of in an overlooked position, looking down or looking across maybe at some warehouses. There are a couple floors high, and there's kind of courtyards between them. And you see members of the Blood Pack who are primarily, as you may remember, Vorcha and Krogan kind of talking to each other, kind of roughhousing a little bit. And then every now and then there are some Volus mixed in. The Volus are obviously the people paying to have the Blood Pack here, and so they're taking orders. But you get the sense a little bit that the Blood Pack are calling the shots among most of the folks here. I wouldn't go so far as to say that the Blood Pack is bullying the Volus, but there is definitely, I'll say, they're aware of the labor power that they have in this situation and are taking advantage of that by getting to determine the sort of culture of the Volus warehouse area here. Right now, no one's seen you. The 5 of you have managed to sneak in pretty successfully, but you do need to get through the rest of the warehouses from the service entrance over to where the depots are. And to do that, you're going to have to get past not just the distance between you and there, but also any guards, anyone looking your way. And to do that, you'll have to use some skills and do some action rolls. And Omniblades in the Dark, Forged in the Dark games are able to kind of abstract this in an interesting way. I think in a lot of tabletop role-playing games, you think of every encounter as a sort of door that's a locked door and you're looking for the key. But in Forged in the Dark, it's a little more abstract than that. So you'll see on the screen right now, there is what is called a progress clock. Right here in the kind of middle, it says getting through the warehouses. Can everyone see that? I want to make sure that my roll 20 isn't bad. All right, cool. And that's a 6-step clock, which means you need to make 6 steps of progress to succeed at this. From the Omniblades in the Dark book, I'll just read. A progress clock is a circle divided into segments. Draw a progress clock when you need to track ongoing effort against an obstacle or the approach of impending trouble. In this case, it's ongoing effort against an obstacle. Generally, the more complex the problem, the more segments in the progress clock. When you create a clock, make it about the obstacle, not the method. The clocks for infiltration should be interior patrols or force field, not sneak past the guards or disable the force field. The patrols in the force field are obstacles. The player characters can attempt to overcome them in a variety of ways. And so in this case, I don't know how you're going to get through there. Are you going to sneak through? Are you going to shoot your way through? Are you going to hack your way through? Are you going to charm your way through? All of those things and a combination thereof can get you past the guards and to your destination. So it's kind of up to y'all to determine what sort of method you want to go forward in, if that makes sense. So again, the situation here is you kind of have the upper hand. You're in a controlled position. You see let's say that there are, coming underneath you, there is a kind of patrol of two Vorcha and a big Krogan who are just kind of walking back and forth. Just below the service entrance where there's some ladders coming down. So those are the people who are in front of you right now. Those are kind of the first step of the obstacle between you and your destination. What do you do? Who takes action first here?
So sorry, we're addressing this specific obstacle first?
Yes, you're
Okay.
specifically like looking down from the service entrance. You're now out of the waste flow, let's say, and looking down on these three blood pack members who are just where it says service entrance on the map.
They haven't seen us, right?
They have not seen you yet. You're in a controlled position. Correct. You kind of have the drop on them.
Rock will look at the others and at the rest of his party and just go,
Rock have idea. Put up hands. Put up hands.
I love this.
So Rock, of course, he's got his shotgun ready, and he's like,
Yep.
Put up hands.
and indicates that they should basically go down the stairs.
Does everyone go forward with this?
Are there snails below? Need to know if snails are below. Composition
around.
oil indicates snails may be below.
No snails here, but you can't be sure of the rest of the warehouses. It's totally possible there's a huge shipment of snails in one of these warehouses.
I will
Only
not
time
be
will
first,
tell.
and I will not be second. I will not be last. I will be in middle, and I will go.
Perfect.
I'll go
Max-
behind you and look out for the snails.
That is appreciated.
Got you.
Knew you would help.
Max is gonna go ahead and suggest that maybe she should go first, and maybe if she can sneak up on them. I have ambush, so when I attack a target unaware of my presence, I gain 1 dice. So it might be advantageous if I split off and then it's noticed on one end. I could do classic rogue stuff and then come from
Totally.
behind.
Love this. So you're going to sneak off by yourself, and then Kabis, Kara, and Razu are going to pretend to be captured by Vrock, is what it sounds like. All right. So let's handle these two things separate. Let's just start with the Vrock side of things. Vrock, you lead everyone down. You have your gun to their backs. How do you open? You go ahead.
And make noise coming down. Brock's actually in his heavy armor, so he's not bothering
Okay, cool.
being quiet. In fact, he kind of wants to draw attention so that Max can sneak away a little more easily.
Perfect. And in fact, you've just brought up something that I was going to bring up in a second, which is everyone at this point should determine how heavily armed they are and how heavily armored they are. Omniblades in the Dark has an interesting system for kind of inventory and equipment. As we said before, this is a system that assumes that you're all competent at what you do, more or less, and that you are prepared for a situation as it occurs, not necessarily you in a way that doesn't require you, the player, to have that same degree of expertise. And so, for instance, Vrock, if you look at your inventory over on the right, there's a section called load, right? and there's light, normal, and heavy. Light says quieter, faster, less threatening. Normal says visibly armed, ready for trouble. Heavy says slower and heavily armed and ready for war. And in each of those cases, there are kind of like pre-generated pieces of equipment that you already have. For heavy, it's armor and frag grenades. But you also have these 2 extra slots that aren't filled in yet. You see there's kind of the empty lines there. And that's because you can fill those in as you need them during play, pulling from the rest of your equipment or a kind of generic equipment list that includes things like jetpacks and metagel and enhanced optics and stealth suits and stuff like that. So if you're ever like, oh, if only I had blank, if I only I had a cutting torch, well, as long as you haven't declared all of your equipment, you can have a cutting torch. So in this case, what we do know you have right now is your armor, your frag grenades. I know you said you have your shotgun, so you can declare that if you want to now, but you don't need to yet. Actually, I guess what I'll say is you're getting a bonus from it because it has all the blood pack stuff on it. It's already there. So let's say you have declared that.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to declare my last spot too because Vrock never goes anywhere without his special combat Omni claws. Yeah,
there you go. So that totally works for me. I think Vrock is let's say a special case where we pretty much know what Vrock is carrying at all times.
Yes, and he got dressed for the drive the Mako straight down the the gullet plan, and he never bothered changing, so he's just in his full armor and everything. Yeah.
Totally. So if you do choose heavy, you get everything in normal, you get everything in light, and then you still get those 2 remaining slots. The thing to know is if you're heavy, that means you're going to be slower, you're going to be more noticeable, which in this case I guess is a plus for you, Vrock. But if you're trying to sneak around, that's not going to help you.
Yeah. Brock's pretty direct, so he's going to go with the heavy load, which means he's got his shotgun, his combat Omniblade, his armor, climbing gear, and frag grenades, plus a couple of slots.
In fact, you get 2 slots of armor, which means that you can resist damage twice, which is very useful. Kabus, how about you? What are you rolling with? Which load are you wearing?
I would say normal. I was tempted to go heavy, but I think it's going to be hard to get through these warehouses without at least a little bit of stealth.
Totally.
So normal will include my tech drone and my combat drone, which I'm just going to, replace that deployable gun turret with, and demolition charges, and kind of the omnipresent Omni tool.
Right. And one more time, Bubble is your tech drone and Bobble is your
combat drone.
Perfect.
Yes.
Gotta get it right in my head. That makes sense to me. All right. Razu, are you going light, normal, or heavy?
I am normal.
Okay, perfect.
Submachine gun, cryo ammo, metagel, omni tool, ready to go.
Perfect.
Thought you would need them.
Kara, how about you?
I'm also going to go normal. That includes an Omni tool, surveillance and recording equipment, my heavy pistol, and an optical disguise.
Perfect.
So.
And finally, Max, how about you?
Since I'm going with sneaking right off the rip here, I'm going to go light, and that gives me a sniper rifle, enhanced optics, so night, thermal, EMF, motion, vision modes.
Awesome. So you can toss those on to get a little extra information as you're scouting around.
Sweet.
And you still have those 2 extra slots, just like everybody else. So if you do need some of that other equipment, you could declare it once we're kind of in rolling through it. So let's zip back to the action here. Vrock, you have your compatriots in front of you pretending to be, I guess, prisoners in this case. How do you kick things off? Yeah, go ahead.
As I say, I'm drawing attention, clomping on the stairs, and just sort of like,
Move, scum! Move!
This is not what I had in mind. I thought you were just going to shoot them.
The 2 Vorcha spin around first, and then in kind of just like a slow, dramatic, annoyed turn, the very large Krogan, who has kind of like reddish green coloring on their crest, spins around and looks at you and says, "Who are you?"
I bring these 3 for Rick. He wants to talk to them, yes?
This is going to be a roll. Is anyone? Go ahead.
Can I use, rather than, he's not trying to be diplomatic here, so he actually, Brock is trying to use intimidate.
Okay.
So he'll add something at the end that makes it like,
out of the way, idiots!
This is perfect. I was going to ask you to illustrate the ways in which this was intimidating. I love that. Does anyone want to help Vrock here in any way, perhaps by looking like they're extra stressed, looking like they are a little bit more like prisoners and not just Vrock's friends.
I will sprout water from eyes. We'll sprout water from eyes.
All right, so you are doing what is called assisting. Assisting. The way assisting your team works in this game is that you spend a resource, which is called stress. If you spend 1 stress, you can give you can help out your friends. When a player is rolling to perform an action, one other player can offer to assist by describing what they do to help. In this case, we know that Rizu is fake crying, real crying. Is this real? Are these real tears? Are these crocodile tears?
Water is real. Thinking of snail.
Perfect. So Rizu, you will take 1 stress. You have 9. Everyone starts with 9. And in exchange, Vrock gets to add a bonus die to his roll. On that note, you do potentially expose yourself to any consequences from that roll by involving yourself directly in it. You can. That's probably good enough for now in terms of the rules. So, Vrock, what is your intimidate?
My intimidate is 2. Can I also spend stress on this?
You absolutely can. You can do what's called pushing yourself. Like I said, stress is kind of a multifaceted resource. You can spend it to help your friends. You can also spend it to push yourself to do a little bit better. Spending 2 stress will get you a bonus die on this roll if that's what you're looking for. So is that what you're going for?
Yeah. He like when he screams idiots, like the veins stand out on his neck and there's like spittle flying everywhere. It's not pretty.
So mark 2 stress, and that means that with your base level 2 intimidate plus the bonus 1 from Rizu plus your push, you're at 4 dice, and this is what we're going to call controlled standard. Standard is the level of effect. In Forge in the Dark games, your effect can be limited, it can be standard, or it can be great. There's a very rare instance in which it can be kind of even greater than great, even more exceptional than great. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. That said, with 4 dice, you could get 2 6s, and if you get 2 6s, that will be a kind of a critical success, which will be even better. So this will be risky standard. You go ahead and you give me 4d6.
That go through. Ooh, 3 6s.
An incredible roll.
The
greatest roll
Much water.
Really, you're chewing the scenery. Can I get a little bit more in terms of how exceptionally well this goes over?
Rick will have your guts for garters if you delay me.
Fine. You two bring this one to the front. And not only now have you with 3 6s, maybe the highest roll I've ever seen in a Forged in the Dark game. Okay. Ali can attest to this. You are not only going to get to advance this clock by a couple points, you're going to get to advance it by a bunch, and you're getting almost like an honor guard of these 2 additional Vorcha who have your back and are now leading you. They're leading you to the front, but because of your great intimidation success, you can kind of reroute them and have you and have them lead you a different place if you want to. Because you got a critical success here, I'm going to advance the clock 5 segments, which is a lot. Okay. The way that this game works normally is that a regular success or like a good success, a 6 success, would have increased it on standard by 2. But with 3 6s, that's not just an exceptional result. That doesn't just raise it to a great. I'm going to say that raises it to an exceptional success and moves you from standard effect to great effect to extremely great effect. And it also just lets us keep on moving. So yeah, they lead you through the warehouses, and Max, you're able to kind of sneak with them in the shadows as they continue to kind of lead them through. You get some weird looks as the group of you walk past a number of other folks, including at this point some Volus. And then at a certain point, I think one of the Volus actually kind of comes over and stops you as you're kind of moving between the warehouses and towards where the materials exchange is to the east. The Volus, if people don't remember, are kind of a shorter species. They breathe through an apparatus. They have a very how would you describe the attitude of most Volus? I guess in this case, there's a little bit of haughtiness going on here, as this Volus stops your group and says, "Where are you taking these people?"
I do not answer to you. I answer to Frick.
I don't recognize you. Are you sure you're with the Blood Pack?
Yes, you pay Blood Pack, yes? But Blood Pack decide how job be performed. That is policy.
I'm going to need to check in on this one. Stay right here. And the Volus kind of walks/waddles over to a nearby call box, where he quickly is calling in to check in on this and to see if this has been approved. You're walking towards part of the district that you're clearly not supposed to go to, and you can hear him on the phone say, "Yes, no one is supposed to go into the depots, correct?" That's what I thought. So you have a moment here. What are you doing?
How many people are in this room area we're in?
There is this Volus. Then I'd say that there are probably 3 other Vorcha, and you're in a little hallway. It's kind of weird, right? Because Omega Station is all interiors, but sometimes it can feel like a city, right? So this is a hallway, but it's also sort of a street or like an alley almost. And so you're walking down it. I'd say that there are probably 2 Vorcha who are kind of just relaxing, just kind of kicking it, on the corner. Then there's this Volus, and then a very big Vorcha bodyguard, who is eyeing you, Vrock, pretty closely. Does not. This is, I want to be clear, not Rick, but is definitely
Now, I've been getting somewhat chummy with these 2 Vorcha that were walking along with us. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Brock for right now is just sort of playing along like a sort of can you believe this bureaucracy?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so he's maintaining cover for right now, but he is positioning himself during his chat so that he's right level with this other big Vorcha. And Brock's also taking the opportunity to share some embarrassing childhood stories about his brother Vrick. Just hoping, this will undermine his authority with his underlings.
In fact, at this moment, as you're talking about your brother Vrick, I think the one who's the Vorcha who's eyeing you says, "That's where I know you. You're Vrick's brother."
Yes, I am Vrick's brother, Victor. We both hate our other brother, Vrock.
Yes, Vrock is coward. Vrock is small and weak. I have heard from Vrick.
Oh, Vrick might have got that wrong. He was always jealous.
No, Vrick was very clear. Vrock, little baby, runt of litter.
I think Vrick was always jealous of Vrock because he was so powerful.
No, Vrick is large. Vrick is very handsome. Handsomest of litter, easily.
Is this the big Vorcha who's saying all of this?
This is the big Vorcha, 100%. Makes me look small.
Okay, I'll say this. Vrock is about to pop his cork, so if anybody wants to do anything else before he just ties into this Vorcha.
Snail! Snail!
Why are they yelling? Stop them yelling.
Quiet.
Snail!
And at this point, the Volus comes back over and says, "Everyone calm down. Runk will be here soon." And you know the name Runk. Runk is a kind of lieutenant in the Blood Pack. who you now assume is probably in charge of this mission for the Blood Pact. That they're, Runk is at that high enough level where, if they're here, that's probably what they're doing.
I'm just gonna whisper, like, you could just shoot this guy in the face. Are you gonna let him tell you what to do to just wait here?
I like your tactics.
Hey, why are you two talking to one another? Do you know?
Interrogating. I am interrogating prisoner. Let me tell you something right now.
Just walk up and do the whole thing of like, and then deploy the Omni Claws with the other hand and punch him in the face with it.
Great.
Okay. Also, I have reflexes. Which means when there's a question about who acts first, the answer is you. So I'm gonna hop right into action 2 and try to kill another one of the Vorchas there.
Like maybe the big Vorcha who's there?
Exactly. So I'm gonna from the shadows emerge.
Love it.
And then maybe just take a dope shot while falling or something.
All right. So let's get 2 rolls here. From Rock, that sounds like a melee to me. Given the proximity, I'm going to say this is a controlled great, which means you'll have great effect. And then from Max, controlled standard. I'm going to say you could roll. There's a couple things maybe you could roll here because you haven't been seen yet, right? Which means I think
get another die. I think, right? Is that an ambush? Does that count?
This is an ambush for sure for you, especially.
Okay.
Your target is unaware of your presence, so I'd say that you could use Max. You could use shoot here. Or I'd say let's stick with shoot. Let's keep it straightforward. But you get that bonus die, so 3d6 from you, and then Rock. What is your melee? Your melee is also 3. So you go ahead and give me 3 dice also.
All right, I'll let Max go first because she has that ability.
Totally, that's a 4, and then let's see yours, and we'll talk through how both of these things turn out. Rock.
And Rock is actually now. Am I attacking the one that said that Rock was small and weak?
Yeah, I'm guessing so. Is that what you're going for? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So he is going to spend a stress too because he's
2 stress to push yourself as a reminder. So you are going to start burning through it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think in this case
it's worth it.
He's going to do it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So that's 2 mixed successes from both of you, both Max and Rock. Both rolled 4 as their highest, and when you get a mixed success in Omniblades, that means that there is some sort of complication. From a controlled position, it means you hesitate, withdraw and try a different approach, or else do it with a minor consequence. A minor complication occurs, you have reduced effect, you suffer lesser harm, or you end up in a risky position. And so here's what I'm going to say happens for the 2 of you. I think the most important thing is between the 2 of you, you get 2 of those Vorcha down. The Volus is terrified. The last Vorcha just cuts and runs at this point. However, the big Vorcha, Rock, does get a hit in on you before you can kind of put him all the way down. So I want you to take the level 1 harm bruised. You can choose to resist that if you would like to. That would mean spending some additional stress. In Forged in the Dark games, players have the ability to look at an outcome and say, hey, wait a second, I think my character would be a little bit better than that, actually. And they can roll some dice to see if they could kind of dodge out of the way or resist a consequence, if that makes sense.
Okay. I believe
do that, or would you go ahead and take that level 1 harm?
I'm going to take the harm. Now, I believe that Vrock has an ability that actually reduces his stress when he takes harm because he's getting angrier and angrier.
This is true.
Yeah.
So go ahead and clear one of those stress because you've taken 1 harm.
And now, does my tough ability have any effect on the harm?
It absolutely does. So for most people, they have, when you take harm, there are consequences for that going forward. So if you take level 1 harm, you have less effect going forward when trying to do something similar. So if you get bruised at level 1, and then you try to stay in that fight, well, when you throw your punch, you're going to hit a little weaker because you've been bruised and you're feeling that. Rock doesn't feel it. Rock still takes that harm. Rock still only has the same amount of harm slots as everybody else, but it means that Vrock can kind of shrug it off a little bit more easily, especially at this level 1 where he just doesn't feel it at all. Like, yeah, you're bruised. Who cares? Like, let's keep going. So that's your half of the consequence. Max, as you take out one of those other Vorcha, I said before you were going for the big one, but Vrock was definitely going for the big one. So you take care of the other one, but the one who is running is shouting loudly. And this is going to move all of you into a risky position instead of a controlled position. Do you want to resist that?
I don't have any stress on me.
Yeah, this could be a good excuse to try out some resistance.
I'm gonna try out some resistance.
How do you want to resist this? What's it look like to stop this person from giving your position away?
Okay. And it can't be something like I just killed him, right?
It could be. Yeah, no, it totally could be. This is, again, I guess it's worth saying that the way that this system works is it's not as simple as everyone has HP and you have to roll to shoot again. We're thinking narratively. We're thinking cinematically. Cool. Okay. It's almost like in this moment, are you going to do the renegade interrupt to stop this guy from running?
Yeah, I'm pulling that trigger. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so like I said, Max emerged from the shadows and let's say killed the other one, and she's experienced. She knows how this is going to go down. Person run away is going to be a liability. So she immediately gets prone on the ground and with her sniper rifle, pulls off the shot perfectly. Perfect. And you see the blood splatter come out in a very PG way.
It's very tasteful.
It's extremely tasteful. They have paintings of this in the Louvre.
So when your PC suffers a consequence that you don't like, and that can be harm, that can be your position changing, that can be a bunch of different things. It could be losing equipment. We'll see some more as we go probably. You can choose to resist it and automatically reduce it in severity or avoid it entirely. This will cost you stress though. You resist using one of your attributes. In this case, I think that this is resistance using prowess. Prowess is a category of action that everybody has. You have insight, prowess, and resolve. And the prowess score, it reflects how many different skills you have under that prowess bar. It's not how many points you have there, it's how many of the different skills. So there are 4 skills under prowess: maneuver, melee, shoot, and sneak. And you have 2 of those, shoot and sneak, which means your prowess is 2. So now roll 2d6, and you're going to take stress equal to 6 minus the highest die you roll. So there's a chance this won't stress you out at all. So go ahead and give me 2d6. All right, that's a 3, so you're going to take 3 stress from this. It's a little stressful to have to stop this person, but you knock him out. I mean, you probably do more than knock him out. You pull the trigger, and he goes down, and the Volus from the same attack just kind of stops in place and says, "You can go on your way. I won't report this to any of the higher-ups. Just leave me be."
Thanks, buddy.
I guess at this point, the other 2 Vorcha are just very confused about what went down and look to Vrock for some confirmation. The 2 who are kind of your bodyguards that you kind of earned before.
Yeah, Vrock will just sort of nod to them and go,
yes, internal conflict is good for team building.
Yes. And one of them shoves the other one, and the other one shoves him back. And before you know it, these 2 are now caught up in their own little competition about who's the better between the 2 of them. And your group is able to sneak on by past the materials exchange, or into the materials exchange if that's where you're going. And you've managed to get through the warehouses without much of a scrape on you. Nice job.
I meant you could just kill the Volus. You didn't have to kill everyone. But whatever works.
Incredible.
Volus did not insult Vrock.
True. All right. So, any questions at this point, or can we keep on rolling? All right. So you begin to make your way into the depots, which is, as I described before, are this kind of just labyrinthine mess of alleys and streets. This was not a well-organized, area of the district. A lot of things end in dead ends. The direction you're going in here. So that isn't a problem. And because of that, this is only going to be a 4-step clock. But you need to get through the depots. You need to get to Grail Genomics, which from where you're at is kind of north across town. You don't have to cross Ruby Road because you're beyond it at this point. I would say that y'all are about, if you can see where I just pinged on the map here, to the east of the materials exchange. But you have to go north through it. And as you begin to walk through these alleys, you do begin to hear sounds echoing through this much more quiet part of the sector. Some of those sounds sound like voices. Some of them sound like metal on ground. And the entire time that you're moving, you can't help but shake the feeling that you're being watched. And I'm going to add another clock. This is a 4-step clock simply called Get to Grail. How are you going to do it? Who's taking the lead here?
Could I try to get to a high point and kind of look around, see if I can spot any other
Absolutely.
onlookers?
Absolutely. That is another gather information check is what I want to say here. Give me an assess. Assess is when you search a scene or treat an injury with metagel. This is definitely searching a scene. What is your
Can I
assess skill?
assist here?
Absolutely. How are you doing it?
Perfect. I have that surveillance and recording equipment.
Totally.
So I thought that if like Cabus goes up and then I send like my device out to like record what's going on or like kind of find where he should be looking in the warehouse.
Yeah, I love that. So then Kara, take 1 stress. Cabus, what is your assess? 2?
2 assess, yeah.
So that means it goes up to 3. And actually, you know what? I'm going to say this is still an action roll. This is a stress, or this is a risky situation.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you're still in control, but there is risk in a more generous or a more general sense here. So you do have to kind of keep on your toes. Things could break bad. But go ahead and give me an assess controlled standard. Hey, that's a 4. That's not the end of the world. That 1 is scary, but that 4 is not bad. That is a mixed success here. So as you're looking, you see from your higher position, plus with Kara's additional support, that there are figures moving in the shadows back here. This depot is not as well lit as Ruby Road and its environs. Back here, all you're getting is these kind of humanoid silhouettes, kind of placidly walking back and forth down some of these alleyways. You are an engineer, which means I'm not gonna make you roll extra for this. You know that those are Loki mechs. You know a Hanakadar Loki mech, where you see it. They have those like very distinctive heads with their glowing faces, but the faces here have, instead of showing the numbers that you often see on their faces, there is almost like a very basic emoticon, and not even an emoji, an emoticon of a chalice or a grail, let's say. And they're kind of walking around in the distance. Now with a 4, I am again going to have a consequence for you here. And in this case, it's going to be that you again move into a risky position as one of these Loki mechs makes you up on the roof and points up at you, and you can hear it kind of communicating with some other Loki mechs near it. You can resist that effect, or you can kind of roll with it. It's up to you.
I want to try to resist it, and I'm going to power up my Omni tool, and I'm going to see if I can hack it or short it out before it communicates out.
That makes perfect sense to me. So that's going to be an insight resist. You have a 3 in insight, so give me 3d6. That's a 6. You take 0 stress and manage to short it out from a distance.
Easy.
What's that look like? What's that visually look like as you hack into this thing?
Just the Omni tool coming up, and I don't know, maybe if this is like a movie, the camera's kind of like panning over to the Omni mech, the mech as it kind of like shorts out. Perfect. And dies before it's able to
zip. And then falls to the ground, flattens out. I'm going to give you a little something extra here, which is you know what it's like to hack a Loki mech. This feels a little weird. It's like there's some extra firewalls in place, or it actually feels like you're hacking against another hacker almost, if that makes sense. You can feel another presence in the system in a way that you normally can't. But yeah, because of that, you're able to hack that one, and you have a better idea of the path to take forward. I've advanced the get to Grail clock by 2. So you also have to get there, but you have a much better chance now of getting there.
That feeling of being watched, is that kind of... Could I guess that was these mechs, or is that
it's these
something
mechs?
else?
And I'll say you also pick up from this higher site that there are You know how different stores sometimes will have their own interior cameras pointed out onto the street? Those are there, and based on the patterns of the way they're moving, you get the sense that they're moving in conjunction with each other, not individually. So there is also this kind of network of cameras keeping track of everything that happens out here. And again, with that success, you're able to kind of give yourselves a way forward that doesn't necessarily, it won't automatically make you get caught by those cameras or those mechs. A bad roll will still be a bad roll, but you retain yourself in controlled position.
While all of this is going on, and as soon as it gets into the tech end of things, Brock just loses interest entirely. But he is taking the time to compliment Razoo on their fine acting in the little hostage pantomime that they put on. It's just like, and also like interrupting the others with just like,
Oh, they are a very good actor. Yes. Water came from eyes.
Brooke, I'm recording right now. Can you?
Very good.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Wait, are you shoutcasting her infiltration?
I was recording the steps.
Right. Kara was doing the thing of like, we go here, then we go here, right? But if you did want to turn on Twitch, we did want to start streaming, I think you'd probably get a lot of viewers right now.
Hey guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Hit the bell.
We'll notify you when we're doing our next infiltration.
I can't believe everyone tuned in last night to watch Driftwood play Among Us together. That was so good. God, Rock is just incredible. Always just keeps the straightest face when he's the imposter. All right. So, coming back down from the rooftops, Cabus and Kara have the info on how to get a little bit further in. What do you do? How do you take the next steps forward, knowing that there are the cameras and the Loki mechs walking around?
If no one else wants to go.
Yeah, please. Whoever wants to step forward.
So maybe
Brock is going to suggest just shooting the mechs and and then trying to find a Mako somewhere and driving the rest of the way.
Sure.
Razoo prefers underground tunnel approach.
Could look for an underground tunnel.
I'm looking down at the brown that's still on my armor. Like, seriously?
It is only color. Is only color.
Max, as the infiltrator, do you have any thoughts on this?
I have enhanced optics and stuff. Can I there's night thermal, EMF, motion, whatever. Can I use any of those to see if there's a clear path out of this?
Totally. In fact, I would say what those would do is give you a bonus on the degree of effect that you get if you wanted to try to lead everyone through. What I would say makes sense here based on that is there's a rule in this game in which you can have team actions. And the way that works is that kind of one person takes the lead and takes the stress as everyone does that, basically allowing everyone to benefit from the leader's best skill. When you lead a group action, you coordinate multiple members of the team to tackle a problem by succeeding or failing together. Describe how you lead the coordinated effort, then each PC who's involved makes an action roll, and the team counts the single best result for everyone. The leader takes one stress for each PC that rolled 1 to 3 as their best result, however. So it means everyone's going to need to give a sneak roll here, regardless of what your sneak skill is, and Max is going to take 1 stress from every failure that shows up. But because of Max's special goggles, she can make sure that the effect here is going to be good no matter what, and you're going to be able to get where you're going.
Can I assist on a group roll?
In fact, you can only assist on a group roll if you're not part of the group roll, but you're part of the group roll because you're trying to get there. So everyone's just going to roll sneak. Go ahead.
But I got a tech drone to do exactly this kind of stuff that doesn't have.
That's true.
Question.
Yes.
What if you don't have any dots in sneak at all?
That's interesting now, isn't it?
Would it be best for Vrock to absent himself from this and go another way, or?
Well, that would be. I mean, the thing there is, you would then still have to see how to get across here without making too much noise, or you could, resign yourself to making a lot of noise.
I'm wearing blood pack armor. I could just and especially if I don't have a group with me, I could just walk up there.
Yeah, you could do that, but what I will say is that in some ways lowers the benefit of the group roll, because part of a group action is that Max would be picking up the slack for you specifically. You get the benefit of her incredible skill without any of the negatives, or without taking the risk on yourself, if that makes sense.
Okay, so just an automatic fail for me, and
it's
that's
not actually. So what you do is you roll 2d6 and take lowest. You kind of have disadvantage on the roll as a way to think about it.
Okay.
Also, Max apparently has a very cute cat. Okay, so let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and deal with this roll. All right. And we are back with hour 3, I guess, of our Omniblades in the Dark game. The crew of Driftwood Solutions has managed to sneak the right word at this point, make their way through the Demos sector into the depots, and just about to Grail Genomics. They have one last push here, and what we said before break was we're going to do that as a group action led by Max Rowley, played by Kat. So Max, and in fact, everyone here is going to roll their sneak score together, and for every failure, every 1 to 3, Max is going to take 1 stress. It's not the end of the world, but maybe it's a little stressful to lead 5 fairly loud people through a darkened district while Loki mechs hunt for you. So yeah, everyone take your stealth skill or your sneak skill, which is, let's see, 3 for Max, 0 for Razu. So Razu, you're also going to roll 2d6, 2 dice, and you take the lowest number, unfortunately. Cabus is going to roll 1. Kara is going to also roll 2d6 and take lowest, and Rock is also going to take 2d6 and take lowest. It's a tough one, but this is what group actions are exactly for.
Can you push yourself to take a dice?
You could also do that. That's true. So yes, if you did want to push yourself here, you could do that.
I would like to.
Oh my God.
I'm consistent. I am consistent.
You are 2-1.
Same.
Pushing yourself didn't help. Oh, well, incredible. So the thing that just happened is everyone rolled a failure except for Kat, who rolled a 6, a perfect success, which means you get through it with no problem at all. There is not a single, Loki mech in between you and your destination. Or if there are, you manage to pull people aside. But that means that with literally everyone is about to make noise, about to draw attention to themselves before, Kat, you pull them back on course. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit what that looks like?
So
you're like herding cats.
Before they go out, Max has a moment with Rock and is like, Rock, I know you're not the sneakiest dude, but you're the baddest, biggest dude I know, and you can do this, okay? You can do this.
Who I kill?
Not that type of do this. We're just getting from A to B here.
Okay, will it help if I walk like this?
You know what? Go for it. Yes, vampire stuff. Yes. I know you love human lore, so that reference will make sense to you. And Max kind of gathers the group, and they're all going slowly, and everyone's looking at something different. So she juts her arm out to pull collars back, someone's about to step on a twig, and she gets her hand under there and is like, oh God, ow. And they keep going, and eventually through all of that different pulling and moving and hurting is fine, but she is exhausted. She is sweating. She's like, I'm so happy we got past, and she's really excited about it. She's like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm so happy we made it. That was a lot.
In fact, it was. You are now at 7 stress. If you hit 9 stress in Forged in the Dark games, it goes bad. You will be knocked out of the scene. And then in a longer campaign, you would take what's often called a trauma or a scar, depending on the Forged in the Dark game that you play, which is kind of an ongoing personality trait that reflects that things went really bad. So at 7, you're kind of in a tough spot. And traditionally, the only way to reduce that is to take some actions during what's called downtime between missions. However, I do want to note here that Razu actually can help out a little bit by spending one of your metagel.
I will offer assist. I will offer metagel assist.
How do you how does this work out when it comes to helping someone de-stress after a really stressful thing? Razu, how do you help Max reduce stress a little bit here?
I assemble sticks in circle. I place Max in circle. Ask Max to turn 3 times left, 3 times right, rapidly as possible. Sit from dizzy effect. I wave twig around head. I drop 3 drops Metagel on forehead. I rub Metagel on cheek. Then proceed to tickle back.
Yeah, that seems like it might de-stress me. I can see that working. So yeah, go ahead and spend one of your Metagel, and then go ahead and Max, go ahead and reduce your stress by 1, which is really useful because it means you can still push yourself once now. Previously, you were at 7, which if you pushed yourself, that would have knocked you out of a scene. But now you can push yourself or assist people ongoing without it knocking you out of a scene. So good job, Razu. You've made your way to the front door of Grail Genomics, and it is honestly kind of just a hole in the wall. Out front, I'm imagining sort of a neon sign with almost like how neon signs are just kind of bent tubes that go, and it's like one of those, but like in the shape of a chalice, and it says Grail out front. And there are shutters on the windows. There's bars out front. There is that one camera that you've managed not to be spotted by. But it seems like the obvious route in is currently closed. You haven't really checked out the whole place. So I'll just say on that success, that there is also a side door that also seems to be barred. And if you did some more investigation, maybe you would find some extra stuff. But right now, those are the ways in that you can see, and both of them are locked right now. What do you do?
I'm going to send my tech drone questing around, taking a look.
Perfect. Give me. That sounds like it's an assess to me. What is your assess?
2.
There you go. Give me a 2 and give me make this controlled great because of having that tech drone. You're going to have a little bit more success, if that makes sense. Hey, that's a 6. Perfect. So your tech drone, Bubble, and good job getting a 6 because this means I don't get to put Bubble in immediate harm's way. What's Bubble look like? Tell me what the tech drone looks like for people who don't remember what tech drones look like in this setting.
They're kind of like shifting spheres, like a kind of the holographic, the Omni kind of thing. So it's basically a sphere that's floating around, and Bubble is colored a pleasant green.
Totally. So with a 6 and a great success, Bubble finds a little there's a little grate that seems like it had been filled in with concrete, but the concrete has been chipped away, and you know that because Bubble picks up little like grains and crumbs almost or like pebbles from the concrete that had been filled into this vent. Bubble's able to pass into that vent actually, and on the other side of that vent, inside of Grail Genomics, Bubble seems to be in some sort of storage room. At first glance, it's not necessarily clear what else is happening. The room is dark at this point. There is a door that has some lighting on it. What do you do? Do you have Bubble come back at this point? What's up?
Do I detect any fecal matter?
No fecal matter through this vent. This is not a waste vent.
Okay.
This is not a waste duct, just a regular duct.
Okay.
I'd say it's big enough for the smaller members of your party to get through. I think certainly Razu, I guess I don't know body sizes for Max or Kara. I'm guessing Vrock is fairly big. Yeah, so Vrock would not fit through this duct necessarily.
Well, Vrock's kind of shaped like the Tasmanian devil, so a very large upper body.
Yeah.
But he clearly skipped leg day.
Right, he could get his feet through, but that is it. Yeah, not as good.
Vortex can regenerate, right?
Oh, no!
Pulling a veil on this one, no. X card, you are not allowed to do Vorcha disarmament in order to too far. So yeah, and Bubble is still in there. So if you want to keep exploring inside a little bit with Bubble, that's acceptable.
I'll actually pull Bubble out and like having taken pictures and creating like a 3D composite so that people can see the space.
Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, it's a storage room that has kind of racks of with boxes on it. Lots of like biomaterial crates that have like, either biohazard symbols on them or otherwise are marked to say, hey, this is some sort of genetic material or biological material. Please be careful. And then lots of like technological crates, lots of things that are like not waste. No.
Okay.
Darn.
No waste here. No waste here. Double checked in my own head. No waste.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Technological.
Just materials, just like you're looking at boxes containing scanners, or it's the sort of hard crates that would traditionally hold in our world like camera equipment or something like that. But here, as an engineer, that's probably high level stuff. Or Razu certainly also would know that's high level scientific equipment. Someone else had a question.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could declare a laser cutter so we can all fit through the tunnel.
Totally, yeah. So you just take this laser cutter and start to like open it up a little bit wider. Totally. Yeah. All right. Well, as that's going, you can continue to hear. Actually, I think I'm going to need a roll for this. So what do you do to? What would this be?
Could I request that you use rock as an outline, so there's like a rock-shaped hole in the wall?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Rock, stand very still.
100%.
Stand extremely still. And it's going to be fine, and I'm just going to... And it's fine, and it's okay.
Oh, perfect.
Again, it regenerates.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna say with the laser cutter, you're able to do this. This is what a laser cutter is for. You manage to cut a way in on the side of this building, and the five of you make your way in to Grail Genomics's what do you call it? Storage room. So give me a second here, because I'm gonna move you over to a new space on the screen. All right. So the five of you slide into this little storage facility. Storage, like, it's bigger than a closet, but it's smaller than an apartment, let's say. Again, racks and racks, shelves and shelves of various materials. As you come in, especially as the laser cutter goes off, I think the lights come on. And you hear the voice of a VI, a virtual intelligence, that says, "Guests are required to enter through the entry hall. Please follow the lights to the entry hall." And lights show up on the ground, leading you to this door that is on the kind of south side of this room. Do you follow these lights? You just hang out in the storage room. What's going on?
Rock just immediately starts like, okay, just no.
No, let's wait.
Too obviously a trap.
I still find suspicious.
The voice comes on again and says, "Guests to Grail Genomics are required to check in at reception. Please follow the lights and check in immediately."
Is it like, does it seem as if like this voice is like being broadcast throughout the whole facility or just the room?
You can just hear it in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, can I use like my thermal vision to see if there's any like people around it here?
Totally. Room is totally clear besides you, as far as you can tell. Okay. Give me just an assess as a gather information roll, which means there's no heavy consequences. So just roll your assess skill if you want to.
Oh God! If I have 0 in assess, is that just
roll 2d6 and take the lowest?
Okay.
You could get help here. Razu has a special ability here.
Have a special ability.
Razu has a thing called Foresight that says you can assist a teammate without paying stress 4 times per mission. Narrate how you prepared for this. So Razu, as Max is trying to scan to see if there's any other people nearby, do you have anything that you think could help with that?
Thought you might need help. Would like to assist with things that are helpful. What would those be?
I don't know. Let's think about it. Is there some sort of way you could boost Max's like thermal scanning thing? Is there some sort of map technology or something that you're good at that you would already have something like that?
Is in fact have booster in pocket.
There we go.
Excellent at boosting thermal reading skills. Can
Perfect.
Separate into humanoid, alien, snail, special category invented by self. and machine.
Okay, so
shooting technologies.
very useful. All right, so yeah, give me that assist now. That would be 1d6, or give me that roll now, Max. That would be 1d6.
Okay, so do I have 3?
You would know. So because you have 0, right?
Yes.
Which means you would be rolling 2d6, keep lowest. But because you're getting this assist from Razu, that means that you're up to 1, and you keep whatever that 1 is instead of need to roll 2 and take lowest. I could also offer you what's called a heroic sacrifice, which is a bonus die. But that means I get to do something, let's say, dramatic. And in this case, the thing that I'll tell you is, as you begin to use this device, you can get a bonus die if the device gets hacked and gets shut off so that you can only use it this last time for the rest of the mission. I'll give you a bonus die if you basically trade this as a one-time use for your thermal device. You can reject this. But
Yeah, I'm going to say no, just because we're not in any imminent danger yet.
Sounds good. Yeah,
and we've just arrived.
So give me a 1d6.
Okay, 1d6.
Mm-hmm.
And Max thanks Razu. Says thanks, buddy.
Welcome.
All right, 3, unfortunately, not particularly good. You find there is one heat sensor that comes out not in the storage facility, but somewhere in a room to the south. But the thing that prevents you from getting more of a more detail is that Razu unfortunately sees something snail-shaped that shows up. It seems to be over to the west, and it's standing. It's completely still. You don't get a lot of detail outside of the only reason you see it is because the booster is specifically looking for snails. And it's like up on the wall. It would be like where the wall is, like it would be like here, and it's like a big snail shaped thing, like bigger than a football, smaller than like let's say about the size of a microwave.
Must leave.
Max is gonna try to calm them down and be like, we don't have to go in that room. It's okay. This is why we checked.
Right.
So that we can avoid the snails. To avoid the snails, it's all gonna be good. It's all gonna be good.
You have your team here. We'll take care of the snails.
Water imminent. Water imminent.
So, with that extra information, what do? I think the VI comes on again and says, please keep noise to a minimum in this scientific facility. And please come to reception to check in.
I'm going to try to get into the computer network and see if I can shut this VI down.
Sounds good. That sounds like a hack roll to me. Give me, and at this point, I'm going to let you know, even though you came in with a controlled position, things now are getting a little riskier, partially because of the loud noises happening here, and partially because it seems as if this is maybe a little bit of a higher tier enemy that you're up against than the random Vorcha or Loki mechs outside. So let's put you in a risky position here. What is your hack score?
1.
Okay. Is anyone helping? Are you going to push yourself?
I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
And what that looks like is I'm going to work in concert with Bubble, and so we can kind of work off of each other and create a greater effect and get into the system.
All right. So 2d6.
2 people, 1 keyboard, and you push yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, with a 5, you get a mixed success here, and a mixed success on a risky roll says you do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer moderate harm, a complication occurs, you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position. I'm going to say here that the major consequence here. Actually, I'll give you the benefit first, which is you were trying to shut down this VI, right? And the VI says, finally says. Please stop trying to interfere with room, and then it shuts down. So you get what you want. However, at that point, the lights in here go from being kind of the welcoming white lights to being kind of red and a little more scary, and alarms start to hit. I'm moving you to a desperate position unless you'd like to resist that consequence.
Is the bonus helpful in these moments?
Bonus would have had to have come just before the roll, unfortunately. Next time.
I would
So do you
really
want to try
like
to
to
resist
resist
this?
this.
Okay. I would hope so. So you're going to roll your insight here. So that's 2d6. Oh, wait, no, sorry. What is your insight? Your insight is 1d6. No, wait, I'm looking at the wrong sheet again. 3d6. That's perfect. That's great. Give me 3d6. And so take 1 stress. You rolled a 5. So at the just as the alarms start to power up, you manage to quickly counter hack them and power them down. The VI is now shut down. The alarms have not gone off. No one is telling you to go anywhere, but you are still in this storage facility or the storage room. What do you all do?
Now we not know where entrance hall is.
It's true.
I wish I had thought of that first.
Is there any way we can access the system to find a map or
Absolutely.
an access card or something?
Yeah, do you want to try to I'll be honest, it's a little harder now that the VI has been shut down.
Sure.
I guess Boldwin's already done that introductory hack. So again, I'm going to say you can go ahead with Risky Standard if you want to do a follow-up to that. Razu, if you'd like to help with this hack again, now would be another good time to use that ability.
Grandfather's old key to system connected to a large satellite-like array in cloud can provide great information.
Perfect. So Boldwin, give me another, or I guess Cabus, give me another 2d6 here with that help. Unless you're going to push yourself and get another die, it's up to you.
Oh, I'm hacking? I thought.
Well, I guess, Kara could try to hack. I don't know that Kara is much of a hacker.
Okay. What do you think, Kara?
I was thinking this was going to be more of an assess situation, so I could see if there's anything in this room to
I think. Oh yeah, you know what?
If I was an employee here and being oh, here's my key card. There's the lunch schedule, so I know where people go.
Yeah, there is not too much in this room. It's just the truth of the matter. I would have given you, whatever was here. What I would say, and again, if the VI was open still, you could have accessed it to try to give yourself a map of the facility or something like that. But with the VI shut down, that ability is just gone for you.
Just rubbing it in.
just rubbing it in a little bit. I think it kind of falls back to Cabus here. Though I guess let's get this roll and then we'll see what Assess can do after that. If that makes sense.
I'm willing to push myself to do a bad job.
Are you? All right. Well then, let's do that then. Push yourself to get yourself a hack, and then between you and Razu, you'll have 2d6.
Okay. Perfect.
What is your stress at now, Kara?
That's fine. I'm at 3 so far, and then with that, it's a 5. So
okay,
a little.
You're doing fine.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a mixed success at a 4. Not the end of the world. So you wanted a map of the facility, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that there is limited effect here, which means that you know that there is more to this facility than the map you see. You can sense, you can see the I think it just straight up says lower level access to lower level map denied or something like that. But what you do get to see is this top level. So, boom. You are all in this storage hall up in the northeast. And then there are other facilities on this floor. There's a test facility immediately to your south, a kind of hallway connecting all of these rooms together. Further south than that is a conference room, which is where you found the first of those heat sensors, the first kind of thing that you picked up when Max was scanning. There's a bathroom. The snail is in the waiting room. To your west, and then there's an entry hall further to the west of that, which I guess is not a waiting room, which you think is weird. You think it's weird that there's a waiting room further in than the entry hall, but I guess you don't necessarily know how. I don't know. I'm going to say you know this. You've been to plenty of Meditech things while you're doing your blog. You've interviewed nurses and doctors and researchers. The entry hall is the reception room. There's not a second waiting room normally, but here there is. So that's the layout of this place as far as you can see it anyway. What do you do?
Brock say we go kill snail for a zoo.
Yes.
What's Snailicide called? Is it just Snailicide?
It's probably just Snailicide, right?
Mercy.
I think it's called escargot.
Oh, of course. How could I have ever forgotten? All right, let's make sure this is. I wish it would just escar stop. Is very good. All right, so that snail is over in the waiting room. apologies. So do the four of you who are not deathly afraid of snails head towards the waiting room?
I am kind of curious about that heat signature in the conference room, but I'm worried it's something that's going to harm us. So I don't hate just going to the waiting room and trying to see if there's like a deeper passage from there.
Okay, cool. So the four of you go there. I guess, Razu, where do you wait, not wanting to confront this snail?
Opposite side of facility.
Okay, so you stay. Oh, wait, so does that mean the bathroom?
Or hug Vrock. Stay on Vrock back entire time, safe from snail.
Okay.
Climb on Vrock's shoulders. Cover there. Very tall, very difficult. Achievable with Vrock help.
Incredible. As you open the door to the waiting room, which you have to do manually with the VI shut down, but it slides and Vrock is strong. Vrock can open that door. First of all, I guess immediately as you step in, there's some waiting music that plays, like elevator music starts playing. And what you see before you perfect is a kind of traditional waiting room. There's some couches, there's a couple of chairs, there are some books, and between two of the bookshelves is a huge painting of a medieval knight attacking a snail. This is a classic thing. If you know your medieval paintings, it's often been the case that you'll see knights fighting snails in them for various reasons. And this is, I guess the person who seems to know the most about human history is Vrock for some reason. And Vrock, you're pretty sure...
Yes, Vrock is familiar.
You're pretty sure this is one of the Knights of the Round Table, but you're not sure who.
But which one? Percival? Galahad? Hard to say.
Hard to say. And yeah, there's a bunch of books around. You can take a look around, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be a live snail. It seems to just be a drawing of a snail. Razu, does that calm you down at all, or are you still okay? Not too
tighter to Rock's neck.
Brock will deface the painting with his claws and just sort of like cut the snail out of the painting and like roll it up and stick it away somewhere.
As you reach into to scrape it away, it like shocks you, actually. Take another level 1 harm unless you want to resist it. Something is happening here. You've learned the hard way.
I'll take the harm, and then that'll also reduce my stress by 1.
There you go, 100%.
Don't I have a strong assess thingy I could use here to find out why?
But would that require you to look at this snail dead on?
Ooh.
Not if Rock will push it for me, and I could give it to him to do.
This is true. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So what are you doing to take a look at this?
My eyes are closed. I'm asking Brock, give detail of snail. Exact dimensions, please.
Brock relays that information.
Well, you have to give me a little bit. You have to tell me what does Brock relaying exact details to something mean?
Snail is snaily, very slimy. Have house at carry on back in spiral. Have 2 thingies coming out of its head.
Measures how tall and everything it is.
Smell. What is smell?
Smell like painting.
Painting. Goes to great-great-great-grandmother. Great-grandmother friend of Sir Snailson. Sir Snailson took on Snail. Greatly significant in strategic war. Greatly significant. Must search.
All right, give me this is interesting. Give me an assess roll, I think, Razu. Razu, you have a 3 in assess, and it sounds like you were being helped there by Vrock. Vrock, do you want to take one stress to help on this one, or do you want to
Yeah, sure. I'll take a stress. I just got rid of 1, so might as well.
There you go. So then yeah.
D6 3 thing?
This will be actually 4 because you already have 3 and you're getting help. So 4 D6.
Big roll.
5, 3. Love it. Great. Also, yes, for the record, Vrock, you got zapped. The level 1 harm is zapped, is the one that you took a second ago. Go ahead.
And while the assessment is going on, Vrock is going to ask for some metagel to apply to his burns.
Have Metagel.
Perfect.
Here, partner. Metagel.
So you clear that off, no longer being zapped using Razu's Unity effect. As you're getting all this described, eventually Rock, I think in the description, makes you realize that there is a secret code written into the painting, or like painted into the painting. There are certain like inaccuracies almost. I think one is you recognize like, oh yeah, this is a famous painting, but the famous painting has been changed in such a way so that it's clear that there are certain things that are like almost like their letters. Here's a cloud that shouldn't have that certain C shape. Here is another knight who is like posed in such a way that you could read him as sitting in an A shape or something like that. And suddenly you realize, and I know Rock is a big fan of literature, that written into this painting is the part of a line from, or a stanza from, the poem Sir Galahad by Alfred Tennyson.
Oh, it was Galahad.
It was Galahad. In fact, this is Galahad fighting a snail. And what it says is, my good blade carves the casques of men, my tough lance thrusteth sure, my strength is as the strength of 10, because my heart is pure. Which I don't know. Again, Rock, obviously a fan of poetry, probably just recognizes it instantly.
He takes out a little pair of glasses and sort of... They're hard to keep up because he doesn't really have a nose, but he fills everybody in on this and also lets them know that if they look at the painting and kind of half close their eyes, it's a sailboat.
Rock he has a solid understanding of the human tradition of escape rooms.
Exactly. And I think as you're in the middle of reading this stanza to everyone, the door opens and there is sort of a mousy brunette in her mid-20s on the other side of it, in a white and black uniform, pointing a gun at you. She looks hungry, is like the first thing that your first reading is, this is a person who has not had a good meal in probably weeks. And she points her gun at you, and she says, "Who the hell are you people?"
Say we should let the diplomat handle this.
Who has the sandwiches?
Yeah.
Who has sandwiches?
Hello. Hi.
Don't let Brock do the talking, please.
Hey, my name is Kara. Hi.
Hi, nothing. No one's supposed to be here.
Sure. Well, we're here. Hi. What's your name?
My name's not important. You should all leave.
We're really big history buffs, and we heard this cool painting was here, and I just, I know that we stuck in, but we just needed to see it because it's stunning.
Why do you all have so many guns? Most history buffs don't carry this many guns. You're all wearing armor.
We live on Omega, so you gotta kind of defend yourself.
I think this is absolutely a compel more than a charm. I don't necessarily believe that this is just being charming. This to me feels like lying is, I think, the word that we use.
Does it feel like lying? Because it's very honest. I like this painting. I'm going to push myself on this one.
So that's 2d6. Is anyone helping?
Assist.
With the sly. Okay, you want to assist again? How are you assisting to prove that you are history buffs who love good paintings?
I sing songs of history and paintings of snails that were often worshipped strong as a whale. I am the very model of a modern.
Of course. All right, give me your 3d6 then, Kara. Hey, that's a 6. I think that this person who now is going to give you her name is Caitlin Hugo, just kind of like deflates and says, "This can't get any weirder." Do you have anything to eat? I've been alone here for weeks.
Brock pulls a Varen out of his pouch. It's like There's very clearly some bites, like some gnawing has been done, but there's still meat on the bones, so he just hands that over.
She takes it from you and without a second thought, like produces a little pocket knife and carves away the bits where you've bitten. And in a sense, this is part of the success that Kara just rolled, which is she's put her guard down in a way that communicates something about the way she's presenting herself. She is maybe not as scared and mousy as she's first presented herself to be. She is still truly very hungry, but the skill with which she does this communicates to you someone who's had to do at least some survivalist training, who has been in similar situations before. And then also the way that she just digs into that Varen. How is that Varen prepared? Is this cooked? Is this raw? Is this...
I think it's been parboiled.
Okay, perfect. Goes right at it. No big deal. And he's just like, this is pretty good stuff. Thanks so much. I've never met a Vorcha who loves paintings, but I guess no species is a monolith.
True, yes.
Do you all want to sit down? There's a conference, and she kind of points back to the conference room where she was hiding before. There's chairs, and I kind of think it's the best room in the whole place.
I think we can trust her because we did give her food, and it seems as if she is less guarded, so it's probably not like we're about to get jumped or nothing.
Right, totally. And in fact, you're not. You go into the conference room. There's something about this room that feels higher tech or a different sort of high tech. Again, I'm going to say, Kara, you've been, you've done your sort of like People of Omega thing before. You've been into research facilities. This feels like a military research facility, not a medical research facility. Less dark woods and polished leather, more metals, more, high quality plastics. There are photos around the room as you walk in, including what seem to be a team of scientists or some sort of research team here that include Caitlin Hugo in them, along with 4 other people. And they're all like smiling and they're like giving thumbs up and shaking hands and doing all the sort of like traditional stereotypical we're starting a business type things. And she takes a seat. And again, there's a big sign that says Grail Genomics, and there's a big grail up on the wall. And she says, thank you for the Varen. And if there's anything else you need, I can answer any questions you have. But mostly, I hope you can go get help.
In the background, I'm like, so you bring shotgun, you bring armor, you bring an Omni tool, and you bring a whole chunk of Varen with you on missions?
Yes. It is important to snack between meals, yes.
While this is going on, Max is gonna sit beside Caitlin and be like, hey, like, what happened here? Are those photos of you?
Yeah, we started this place a little while ago, and then the fighting started, and I'm trapped here. I don't think I can get out. And she is not coming forward with any of the research that was supposedly being done here. As a reminder, you all were told that there was some sort of cutting edge research happening here that shouldn't fall into the wrong hands. And that this team was apparently doing some stuff that was kind of next level. She is not very forthcoming with what Grail Genomics was researching. And likewise, I think that you kind of get the sense that she's talking around all of that as she kind of explains, like, we started about a year ago, and, then the fighting started, a few months ago, and I've been stuck here alone. She's like, the rest of my team, they all got hurt really bad, and some of them tried to get away, and there's all these mechs, and I don't know.
If we show her the crown symbol that those units had, does she recognize or say anything about it?
She says, yeah, I've seen that. Does not give you more details.
That isn't from your company?
Oh, yeah, I guess it must have been tied to one of the other projects that I wasn't on.
Max is going to ask how many people used to work in this facility before the fighting.
It was me, and then the other core team, and then some interns. That's it. It was
What's
Harrison.
his goal of successive company?
We study, gene technology, all according to Citadel regulations. We didn't break any. No, there's nothing. I'm sorry. I'm very. You're the first people I've seen in months.
Which specific genes are you playing with? I'm not genes.
I can't. It's proprietary. I would get in trouble if I talked about it.
Does count talking to non-human?
It counts. Yeah, that counts too. And she kind of sinks back down.
Charades.
You're really all historians?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and she's like right on the edge of not knowing how to respond at this point. I think the questioning has kind of put her on edge. There's a limit to what she wants to say here, I think. It needs a little prodding or incentive to give any more.
Brock is going to very obviously sort of take everybody off into a little huddle. They sort of all move into a group and he's like,
Good cop not working. Vrock be bad cop, yes?
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it could hurt.
Brock is extremely capable.
Brock, how do you play bad cop?
Well, first of all, while we're still in our little huddle,
Brock goes, okay, what we need to find?
Cutting edge technology. I don't think that testing facility next door is what's going on here.
Okay.
Austin, do we know that there's a second level?
Yeah, you definitely do, because when Kayla did that scan, she revealed that there was some other level of this place that is not accounted for on this map.
So she's obviously holding out on this.
So our immediate goal is like the secret lab then.
The secret lab. I guess the question here, or the thing for you, is like, I guess you don't necessarily know that. You don't know that she's holding out on you. It's possible she doesn't know, but I could not be playing suspicious anymore. Like, obviously,
Yes.
right?
Actually, I forgot until this moment that I have intuitive, which is you can always tell when someone is lying to you.
Alarms are going off in your head.
Yeah.
She is absolutely lying to you. There is no doubt in your mind that she's hiding information from you.
Okay.
Okay.
But I guess I should emphasize some stuff. She is not lying about some key things she said. Her teammates are dead or missing. Though that's not a full truth, but it's mostly true. She has been here alone for the last few months. She was really hungry. She does want to get out of here and is afraid of leaving. All of that is true. She's also holding out on you in a big way.
She definitely recognizes that crown and directly lied to my face about it.
100%.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Brock wasn't lying about wanting to play bad cop, though.
No, not a lie.
Okay, here is plan. You talk to her, be nice, say you friend. Then I come in, you ask if she want coffee, and then I will throw coffee in face, yes?
No. Let's not burn her, but like maybe scare her so she won't lie to us anymore.
Okay.
Water eyes for lying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brock just immediately spins around and starts screaming at her.
Tell truth!
All right, give me an intimidate check. That is as intimidating as I've ever seen anyone be. What is your intimidation score?
I believe it's 2. Am I getting a boost here as well?
It sounds like yes. So is that coming from? Who's that coming from? Who's helping here?
I can available for boost. Any boosts left?
I think you have one boost left. Is that right? Let me take a look at your sheet.
Looks
Yes, totally. So yeah, go ahead and give me that bonus. Hey, that's a 6. I think between all of this, she crumples, and she says, "All right. Project Galahad. We okay. Well, after the Normandy blew up. Okay. Well, Crossley thought it would be a good idea if we cracked death if we figured out how to make people keep living, if we could... Listen, there are some people out there who are really, really important. And if they die, if we lose them for good, then all of humanity is doomed. All the galaxy could be doomed. And it's one thing to try to bring them back, but what happens if we lose them again? And so what we decided was we were going to make sure that the most important people got to keep living. It's called Project Galahad, and it's Crossley wants to take it for himself. I think he's building an army. I got to get out of here. She's very confused and is not necessarily communicating things clearly to you because it's all coming out of her all at once.
Vrock looks very pleased with himself, with his intimidating, like,
Vrock is world's greatest detective.
Azoo, world's greatest actor.
Yes, we team.
Team.
He's downstairs, and he's got a lot of support down there. He's been uploading people into mechs. He thought the combination of, the ingenuity of real people, the strength of metal, and the precision of a mech together would be stronger than just a mech by itself. And he's made them all loyal to him. I don't know that they all work right. Sometimes they come up here and they seem confused. And I don't know where he's getting the people that he's using. It wasn't supposed to be like this.
How do we access the lab?
It's back in the waiting room near the painting. I can help you access it, but you have to promise that you're going to get me out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say. Can we tell her about the tunnel and lead her to Vox, who is our commander, to be go check in with this person?
You can promise that. I think actually getting her there at this moment would mean leaving this place. For now. Sure. You know what I mean? It's pretty far away. Yeah. But you could tell her that you have a secret way out for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she can handle it on her own from there.
Yeah.
We need the tech because we got to resurrect Shepard.
So this is the thing. I'll just say it outright because we, the players, have perspective that your characters don't know. The Cerberus, who this is a secret Cerberus facility, and I think at this point you can piece together that she's basically wearing a Cerberus uniform minus the Cerberus insignia. Cerberus started Project Lazarus to bring Shepard back. They started Project Galahad to make sure he'd never die again, or to make sure that other important people would never die again. And then the person who was here running this cell, apparently named Crossley, decided to go rogue and take it for himself. That maybe he is the one who shouldn't have to ever die again, and that he should have an immortal, perfectly loyal army of blended synthetic and organic beings that would do his bidding. And it sounds like he's downstairs. Before we go downstairs, we should take one last more break. Yes, good point. Quickly, I don't know Shepard's gender in this version of the Mass Effect universe. So let me revert that and say that after Shepard died, or after Shepard went, after the Normandy was destroyed, Cerberus decided that they could never lose Shepard again. If they lost them again, that would be kind of a true fail state for the galaxy, and so they wanted to make sure that anyone like Shepard or anyone like them would get to live forever. Work.
We have two Shepards here, right? Huh?
You have both Shepards here. All right, so let's take one more break here before we wrap up with a big climactic showdown down below in the Project Galahad facility.
Awesome. We are back.
So, Caitlin brings you back into the waiting room and recites that stanza that you were interrupted from saying, Vrock. And now when she finishes it, the waiting room itself, the floor shakes, and it's revealed that this entire room is an elevator leading you deeper down into Demos sector to a facility underneath Grail Genomics' front office. And it's a pretty straightforward situation. There is this main hall that the main entryway that you come in through. Then there's a hallway, and that hallway has a giant mechanical door that currently is closed, but you can hear the sound of movement on the other side. What do you do?
Did she actually come with us, or did she stay back at the top?
I think she says, I'm going to wait up here.
I take out a demolition charge in the one hand, and I power up my Omni tool in the other hand, like, huh?
Going to blow your way in or hack your way in? This is a good question.
I put some Medigel on my lips, grab my submachine gun and my cryo hammer, and hide behind my friend Vrock.
Vrock will actually ready his bandolier of fragmentation grenades, and he actually takes the bandolier off, and he's got it rigged so that all the pins are just tied to one pin, so he can basically pull all the pins at once. So the idea is once the door is open, he's going to pull all the pins on all the frag grenades and throw the whole bandolier in through the door.
I love this plan.
Okay,
Max and Kara, are you getting ready for action at this point, or are you just going to wait and see how it goes?
Max is going to look down her sights behind everybody, so she's just got, like, the sniper.
Yeah, I think Kara's just bracing for impact at this point.
Okay. So, Cabus, how are you opening the door? You going loud, or you hacking in?
I guess we're doing it loud.
Okay. Well, you have a special ability with that, don't you?
I do. You gain potency when using explosives. On a critical roll, you do not consume a charge.
Which is great. How many charges of explosives do you have? You have one charge, or you have two charges.
Two charges, yeah.
So you set up this first charge. I'm going to say that this is a repair thing, because repairing, also the skill repair, the action repair also includes any sort of mechanical tinkering like this. And potency means you're going to get great effect, which is extremely good, because I'm going to have it, you'll see, we'll see how the roll goes, I guess. By default, that's 2d6. Do you want to push yourself? Do you want to get help from anybody, etc.?
I will push myself. This is me in my element. I'm totally focused up. Just setting this thing. Just like muttering to myself, this is gonna be awesome.
Rizu is out of those free assists, but if anyone wants to assist by spending stress, now would be a good time.
I will spend stress.
Okay. How do you help with this attempt? Are you just helping to set up the charges alongside with Cabus?
I set charges, then tap each charge 3 times with left toe, which must remove from footwear, and walk backwards and forwards in weaving pattern between each charge, circling head 3 times to pull in geotechnical forces to assist.
Sure. The geotechnical forces definitely make a big difference. Take a bonus die to this.
And I'm about to set it off, and I'm just watching them just dance like,
okay.
Are we good?
Are we good? We're good now. The geotechnical forces are in position. You did push yourself also, correct, Camus?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 4d6.
Okay.
Risky stand. That's a 6. Risky, great actually, because of that additional potency from your special ability. You unfortunately, it's not a crit, so you don't get to save that charge. But the door blows in, and in such a way that it immediately actually takes out 2 of the things that were behind it, which were 2 Loki drones. Let me paint you a picture before Vrock sends in. Actually, you know what? Vrock already committed to,
like, through the smoke, just blind throwing
right?
it in.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I'd like them to hit something. So obviously, I'm gonna throw it at something I see.
Okay,
ignoring the cries of "Help! I'm a prisoner."
So inside, the first thing that happens is the whole door just slams down on top of 2 of the Loki units that are there, and a third one turns and says, "Hark, intruders!" which is not what Loki drones are supposed to sound like at all, but they seem to be speaking in some sort of faux medieval language, their best approximation thereof. You'll see I've added the clock King Crossley's Knights. It's an 8-step clock, which is quite a lot. But because of that great effect on getting into this room, I'm actually going to go ahead and mark them once as 2 of them get smashed. This is a huge kind of rectangular room that is has kind of 3 long structures down the middle of it, or kind of down the center, north to south, causing there to be kind of, 4 hallways separated by these long metallic structures. Those structures, as the smoke begins to clear, as you kind of make your way in and see, are huge medical tubes holding bodies. All of those missing mercenaries, this is where they seem to have gone. They have been brought into this facility where they are being converted into mech units loyal to King Crossley, aka Chief Scientist Crossley, who you now see at the opposite end of the room above you in a sort of oversight facility or oversight room, looking down behind glass at this facility. And what he is looking at, what he is kind of observing, is the reach of his kingdom currently. Throughout this room are dozens of Loki mechs, along with a number of Fenris units, the kind of dog-like ones, that are all moving around. And I want to be clear, even the Fenris units are talking. And they're all like saying, Hail King Crossley, a liege of all Omega. And they are all marching almost in rank and file towards you, with their weapons drawn, ready to go. Not the Fenris units; they don't have weapons drawn. That'd be very cute, though, if they had little mouths carrying guns. But no, they're just running at you. And these are King Crossley's Knights, an 8-step clock with quite a lot of mechs heading your way. Crossley, for his part, is kind of like he kind of just has like a balding middle manager vibe. Definitely delusions of grandeur. Definitely sort of a petty tyrant whose eyes are bigger than his stomach, wherein I get or whose reach I guess exceeds his grasp. Though I don't know, maybe this goes bad for you all, and his grasp ends up very broad, and we're suddenly in an AU where Omega gets taken over by King Crossley. But I think the way I want to paint him a little bit here is he's yelling at you from behind the glass, but he's forgotten to turn on the intercom, so it's not even like you can hear what he's yelling at you. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
These soldiers are all dogs?
There's a mix. It's a mix of the humanoid Loki models and the little Fenris ones, so far anyway.
Okay, so I assume that like when the door blows, we can see them.
You can see all this, totally.
And there's one left beside the door?
There's one left right beside the door, and then dozens throughout the room. I'm not going to place them on the map individually, because what's important here is that we kind of play through this cinematically and with a kind of an abstract focus. There's as many of them as there will be until you fill this clock, basically. And in fact, what you see is more of them are appearing from like holes in the wall, or like, kind of like ducts
recesses
are opening,
or something.
Recesses, they're coming out, new ones are being released, and in fact you're seeing bodies quickly drop down from those tubes through the ground, presumably to be quickly affixed into new Loki models. We should resolve what Rock was going to do, because Rock did say he was going to toss some explosives in. Are you still doing that plan?
Oh, certainly, but he wants to use them efficiently. So
Sure.
he's basically he charges in as the door falls and crushes these two. He's basically running up the door, using it as a ramp.
Love it.
To land on the next guy. But while he does that, he wants to throw his bandolier full of now active grenades at like the biggest mass of these guys, or maybe even like towards the source where they're being put, pumped out by this machine. So that's where the grenades are going.
All right.
And he'll be, I don't know if I can do it on the same round, but he wants to melee with his Omni Claw, this one remaining one, and the grenades go to a big mass.
Let's resolve the melee and then the thrown stuff. Is anyone helping as Rock absolutely goes off in this moment?
I love a boost.
Yeah, you can push yourself here. How are you helping in this attack? We haven't seen Rizu do any sort of attacking stuff, but you do have that cryo ammo you talked about, right?
I do. I will freeze and make a frozen ramp for him to slide up like a sled to gain more momentum.
Perfect. I love this. So yeah, push yourself, and then go ahead and take a +1 to. Let's put it to. Do you want that +1 on your melee attack or on the follow-up?
The grenades, you mean?
Yeah, the grenades.
Yeah, I think we'll save it for the grenades.
Yeah. With your shoot being only 1, I think that makes sense. So yeah, go ahead and give me your melee 3d6. Are you pushing yourself? Are you getting any help? Looks like
I can push myself to get another dice.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me one more die. Not worth it, unfortunately. A 4 is a mixed success. And yeah, you come down strong on that one. What's it look like with your special Omniblade?
Well, the Omniblade is, of course, it's like, a serrated, sort of jagged 2 pair of claws, like not Wolverine, I guess, more like X-23, sure. And but of course glowing orange because it's an Omniblade, and so he basically comes up on this ramp that has been conveniently built for him and comes down straight through the top of this mech's head and actually forces the entire head into the body cavity, into the abdomen. But because of that, like with such force that his wrist and hand are actually inside the chest of this thing now, and the head has been pushed in. So he's attached to this mech. So, but he's got his free hand, which he uses to throw
toss these grenades. All right, give me. I'm going to say this is shoot, which is pretty close to, I think, what you're doing. It's a lot, distances, accuracy, stuff like that. So by default, your shoot is 1, but you got that push, you got that bonus rather from Rizu. So give me 2d6. And we'll resolve your consequences. That's a bad consequence.
Can I push to
you should have said beforehand. What's your stress at? Let me. You're really only supposed to do it beforehand. So in this case, I'm going to say let's let it roll and see what the bad outcomes are here. There's a mixed outcome and a failure here, which is both very strong stuff. The mixed outcome, I think, is more harm coming your way, Vrock, as the mech that you thought you had completely destroyed grips onto you. And begins to overheat its body, burning the side of your body, and you're going to take scorched, level 1 harm, scorched from that, unless you want to resist it. But I don't. What is your stress at? You are at 5 stress, which means it's theoretically possible that trying to resist this could knock you out, could give you enough stress that you get knocked out of the scene.
May I offer Medigel?
I think you might be out. Unfortunately, yeah, you're out. You could declare more Medigel. You totally could. And after we finish this, you could apply it.
Could I burn a point of armor to avoid this harm?
You absolutely could do that. So there you go.
I'll burn a point of armor.
Yeah, your armor is what burns instead of you in this situation. That failure is a little rough. That hard failure blows a hole in the back wall, where you'd hoped what it would do is simply, collapse in the wall and prevent more Loki from showing up. Instead, unless you resist this, the smoke clears and there's a new shape there, a much larger mech. Do you want to resist this, or do you
I will resist this, and we'll say that the explosion did reveal this large mech, but it also dislodged something that lands on the mech, crushing it.
All right, so so now you're going to have to resist this. I think this is a prowess resist. Give me 2d6 and hope to roll high.
Okay, and I can't add anything to this, can I?
No, I don't. Let me just double check that you don't have any special abilities that do that, but I don't believe you have. No, you do not. Oh, but you took harm, so make sure you remove that 1 stress from when that happened. Okay, I guess actually you didn't actually because you protected with the armor. Yeah, correct. In any case, you're fine. You rolled a 5 on the resist. You only take 1 stress from this. So you have 3 stress to play with left. Nice work. And yeah, there's like a pillar falls down, or a girder or something falls down and blocks the path of this big Ymir mech that is now trying to walk forward, but is just walking into this pillar over and over again, not able to quite get past it. It's trying to with its hands move it around. This would have been King Crossley's champion, but for now the champion is still stuck in the wall. All right, that is with that first success. At least you do get to advance this clock a little bit. You've advanced it another 2 steps, 5 steps left worth of knights. Cabus, Max, or Kara, what are you? Kara, what are you all up to here in this room filled with tubed bodies and angry mechs?
I have an idea. Kara she has a gun, but she's not great at shooting.
Sure.
But she's good at like moving through areas and assessing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to declare a deployable turret. So have someone else shoot all of them for me. And then I guess try to figure out the best place to put it.
Totally. That sounds like an assess to me.
Okay, cool.
What is your assess skill?
It is 2.
All right. Does anyone want to help with this? Cabus, you could probably send Bobble along with this sort of deployable drone ploy.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have sorry, I said that without checking to see if you have the stress to spare. You got a little bit of stress to spare.
Yeah.
You want to go for it? All right.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. So then spend your 1 stress to give Kara a bonus. And then give me your assess roll, Kara. 3d6. That's a crit.
2-6.
We'd love to see 656, increasing it up to a great success, which is fantastic. What's it look like, Kara, as you do this?
I think that it's her, quietly moving behind cover with Bobble floating behind her as she, finds the perfect spot to deploy this turret. Mm-hmm. And then it just cuts through these mechs as they're, walking forward and are dead now.
Cabus, what's Bobble's attack look like here? Also, what are Bobble's pronouns? I heard you do he, him for Bubble before. Is Bobble also he, him, or a different pronouns?
Oh, no, it.
Okay, it. So Bobble is it. Okay.
Yeah.
What's Bobble's attack or defense or whatever look like here?
Right now, it's floating behind and basically trying to distract away from it. It's firing just bolts of lightning out.
Love it. Yeah, so the mechs are getting stunned. At one point, a Fenris unit almost jumps on Kara, and it's zap, and it just falls dead. But again, instead of whimpering or something, it goes, "My liege," and then turns off. There's still that advanced it up to you're up to 6 out of 8 ticks on this clock. There's only a few left. This turret is blowing through them. The earlier explosion knocked a few of them out. Again, there's a chance that more of these will show up as more and more of these tubes are being deployed down through the facility and into wherever the core mech creation machine underneath is. Max, you're the only one here who's done nothing, which sounded more judgy than I intended. I did not really you didn't do anything. You didn't even help at all.
I'm doing my nails.
Yeah. I'm chilling. Shoot. They got it.
So what I'm gonna do is Crossley still yelling without hitting the intercom right now?
100%. Yes.
I'm gonna try. Max is gonna try it first and take a shot at the glass he's looking through and see if it breaks.
Totally. Give me a shoot. In fact, what type of ammo are you using?
I think I said I took light, but could I declare I brought
you do have sledgehammer rounds if you wanted to try to use those, which have increased impact, capable of knocking down a Krogan or breaking through a wall.
Okay, yeah, so definitely that on that glass then.
Okay.
And that's, what do I have to roll for that? Is that 1d6?
That would be 2d6 by default. You could push yourself. You could get help from somebody else if someone else wanted to help.
What is pushing spend stress?
2 stress, yep, to get a bonus die.
I'm kind of nervous.
Have I any assists left?
You're out of your assist. You could assist with just with stress though. Totally, you could spend 1 stress to assist. If you could explain how you're going to help Max take the shot.
Spending stress. Grabbing bucket of water, dripping on her head for 4 seconds, sprinkling her eyes with dust, blowing dust away from eyes, and incanting great-grandmother's spell of effective geolocation amplification.
You know exactly where to shoot with that, so go for it.
I always love getting help from Mizzou. It's great.
It's great. Always a story. All right, so then that increases your roll even further. So go ahead and give me your roll.
So that's 2d6 now?
Well, you start at 2d6, right? Because your shoot is 2 already,
Oh,
right?
okay. So now I
And
have.
then you're getting, and you're pushing yourself, so that's 3, and then with help, it's 4d6.
Oh, do I want to push myself? I'm thinking about it.
Or sorry, were you not pushing yourself?
No,
I thought
I'm not
you
going to
did.
push myself.
Okay, you're not going to push yourself.
I take it back.
Okay,
I'll take
that's
the
fine.
3 though. Okay.
No worries. 3d6 then. That's a mixed success with the 5, but that
I'll
is still a
take it.
success.
Save me.
You'll take it.
Yeah.
Exactly. The mixed success, however, will be that this, as you take the shot, it goes right through the glass, and it's such a strong, heavy shot that, I mean, one, you knock Crossley on his butt. He's just like totally. He probably has a personal shield, but the kinetic force of that sledgehammer round put him on his butt. He does not seem to be responding in this moment. We'll see when someone goes up to check in on him. But your consequence with the mixed success is that shook everything so much that girder that was blocking the Ymir falls to the ground. You could try to resist it, but you are very close to stressing out all the way.
Yeah, I can't do it. I say, my bad, y'all.
And the Ymir mech, this giant hulking machine, steps through the hole in the wall that opened when Rock threw all those grenades and says, Crossley's champion has arrived. Kneel before my liege or face my wrath. And opens up with these 2 massive arms and begins to just like ba-boom, ba-boom. These heavy shells are just slamming against the walls around you. Dust is shaking everywhere, as this entire situation has gotten to be a little more desperate just because this Ymir mech is on the battlefield. This is a new 6-step clock that I will pull onto the screen now. Boom.
Does recitation of poetry distract Mac?
We would have to roll and see, wouldn't we? I mean, listen, they seem to have some sort of weird medieval mind thing going on. I'll allow an attempt.
In.
Yeah, I guess. Would that be a charm or a compel? Would that be?
Oh.
Let's see.
Oh.
I think that I guess you've won in either of those things. What are you trying to do by distracting it? Or what are you trying to
Charm.
achieve? Making it more vulnerable? Or...
Trance state.
Okay, listen, let's give it a shot. You're at 1d6. It's desperate, which is scary. If things break bad here, they could really break bad. Does anyone want to help Rizu? We've already talked about there being poetry in effect in this mission, so I think that there is totally a precedent for this. Does anyone want to help with the recitation of this poem, or any sort of help with distraction?
I'm going to call up Bubble and have Bubble amplify the words that go out.
Love it.
Also, what a way to go! Like,
yeah, you're right. If it breaks bad, what's better than this? All right, so that would be 2d6. Go ahead.
Can I help distract by basically, I sort of Rock walks out in front of the mech, and with his Omniclaw sort of does like the salute to it as if he's challenging it.
I love it.
Yeah.
What you've just done is what we'll call a setup action, which is when you have an indirect effect on an obstacle, you can give someone else. In this case, you'd be able to give Rizu a bonus effect or improved position, making them a little less, putting them in a less risky position, perhaps when they try to do this distraction with the poetry. So yeah, give me that sounds like an intimidation to me, Rock. Is that what you're going for, kind of?
Yeah, go for intimidation.
All right, give me the 2d6. Hey, that's a 5. All right. So I think, again, in this moment, it kind of charges at you, seeing you as a threat, and just barely catches you and knocks your gun into pieces, breaking your shotgun with its fist. So that is the consequence for this. But you do manage to improve Rizu's position. Rizu is now in a risky position instead of a desperate one, which means that they will not take the brunt of a counterattack as this poem begins to be recited and amplified by Cabus's drone. Rizu, go ahead and give me your. I guess again it's a charm test, which in this case will be a 2d6 based on the help. So roll 2d6 and let's cross our fingers. Also, you could push yourself. Do you want to push yourself for another bonus die? Really draw deep. All right, 3d6.
There once was a mech from up.
All right, that is again a 5, which is a mixed success, but that's a success. That means that you're starting to make progress here. I think the Crossley's champion, this Ymir mech, does in fact begin to fall into a sort of trance, stopping in place and staring at you as if you are the most important thing in the world, as if like, it needs to hear the rest of this verse. I'm going to advance this clock by 2. However, in that same moment, who you have not entranced are the remaining knights of Crossley, and one of the Fenris units jumps up on you to try to like take not a bite out of you, but just try to like slam into you with full force and stop you from reading this poem.
Ah!
Yeah, take the level 1 harm staggered, which means that unfortunately you will have less effect as you continue to try to perform stuff. All right, we're just to give you a heads up of where we are. Basically, there are 4 ticks left in the champion clock, and only 2 left in the knight's clock. So there's a limited amount of the Loki mechs and Fenris mechs left, and then just this one Ymir, which is standing, listening very carefully as Razu reads poetry. Cabus, what are you up to?
This is kind of a desperate measure at this point. I'm thinking the glass is broken.
Yep.
And Crossley's out there. He's vulnerable to say something like an explosion.
100%.
Cabus was, he was part of a cabal, which means he's a Turian with biotic training.
This is true.
I want to try to throw a demolition charge up there.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. That means that you will be using focus, I believe, is the skill for using all sorts of biotics, which I think you have a 1 in, right?
2.
Oh, you have a 2 in it. Perfect. Well, this seems doable to me. This is your last demolition charge, but that's 2d6. Does anyone want to help as he does this?
Everyone's pretty stressed out right now.
Everyone's very stressed out. Everyone, for the record, for the listener, Max has 6 out of 9 stress. Razu has 7 out of 9 stress. Cabus has 7 out of 9 stress. Kara has 7 out of 9 stress. And Vrock has 6 out of 9 stress, plus is bruised. So a lot of we're really at the edge of what everyone's capabilities are.
I will offer.
Razu, you know what? I'm going to say, if you're going to keep trying to read, that's probably where your attention is at this moment. You have to stop the poem to help with Cabus. But Rock or Kara, I would say, are probably free at this moment. Max would have just taken that shot in terms of the timing of this situation.
Iambic pentameter.
So yeah, Max or Kara, do you want to help with this at all, or do you want to let this roll with the 2 that Cabus has?
I can try to help. I can take my last stress and
you don't have to. I am pretty confident about this.
Oh sure. Okay. It seems like an important
On the
thing
other
to
hand,
do
it is a demolition charge.
It is a demolition charge.
And if it goes bad, there's a lot of ways it could go bad.
It could go really bad. I don't know how would you like to help, Kara?
Is there a way to like open up a pathway because the room is like sort of so frantic right now?
Totally, yeah. So do you just like focus fire your turret or something?
Yeah. Just
that
to make
sense.
it.
It's almost like the equivalent of like making sure the bomb doesn't get intercepted by one of the Loki mechs, right?
Yep.
Which is what they're going to try to do. Again, showing that they do have this extra degree of human ingenuity and intelligence. So, Cabus, give me your 3d6. That's a crit. That's a crit. That's a crit. Tell me the very best version of this that affects the entire battlefield, Cabus.
You gain potency when using explosives too, huh?
Yeah, so you're like all the way. This is great effect, and that means after great effect, there is this other level of just like overwhelming effect, which means it affects everything here. This is your Hail Mary pass.
Literally, he's gonna hold it like a football.
Yeah,
cock his arm, and at the release it and throw.
And you get to keep it. That's the other thing. With a crit, you don't spend it because that's your ability. So you still have more demolitions with you in the back pocket.
And it arcs through the air, and it goes through that big hole that Max had caused before. And it's a little too far away for him to set off, but he sends Bubble off to as kind of a remote detonator.
Love it.
And bubble is flashing green, red. And then the whole room blows out.
The whole room blows out. Because all the control equipment is up there, it like echoes. It like goes like the shockwaves as it goes through the entire facility here, and red lights start to flash. The entire place is on fire. This is it. You did the damn thing, so to speak. As Crossley, fades away into the dust. We don't need to zoom in on what's happened to Crossley here. It is not pleasant. Y'all are a bad group of mercenaries. The rest of the mechs at this point begin to shut down if they were not destroyed in the explosion directly. And the group of you realize that you have to get out of this place ASAP as the walls begin to tumble. It's fair to say that you have shut down Project Galahad once and for all.
So just like that, did we win? Rocks falling all over the place. Are we good?
I think the last thing here too is I think that the Ymir unit, before it shuts down, you realize is reciting the poem along with Razu in a final moment of pleasure and life as the entire place comes crumbling around them.
Chance to dream.
When the mech shuts down, Vrock goes over to it and just sort of muscles into it so that he can tip it over, and then just stands on top of it and screams,
Down with autocracy!
That will be very nice.
And from here we can I guess here's my big question. As you leave this place, you get back on the elevator, you run out. We don't have to zoom in on this moment to moment, but you do find yourself outside of Grail Genomics, which is now sinking into the body of Omega Station, and outside is Caitlin, and you're left. I need to know what you do with Caitlin Hugo, who was a researcher on this project. Do you let her go? Do you guide her to safety? Do you tell people you found her? What's the plan?
May we get you a sandwich?
I would like that a lot.
I know a great vending machine.
We take you to boss. Yes?
That's a good idea.
Many sandwiches.
And so you bring her back to your boss, who I think debriefs you. I mentioned that he was off doing his own investigation during this whole thing. And he very much, I think that what he says as he sits down with all of you is, he says, it's just like what I thought. Malediction, the person who sent us to do this, did it because she's from a rival cell of Cerberus. Wanted to shut this program down. I guess she didn't agree with it. Anyway, I guess we can debrief Caitlin and see if she'd like to become the newest member of Driftwood. And I think that's my little bit of epilogue here is, I guess you get another scientist to your team, maybe one who's a little more duplicitous than you're used to. And I don't know if you can trust her long term or not. That would have to be a question for another day for Driftwood's adventures. But I'm curious for all of you, do we get a final parting shot of your character having successfully done this, having been paid very handsomely for this? How do you celebrate after this mission? Let's start. Who has? Go ahead, Razu.
I am standing on pictures of snails holding sandwiches victoriously in the air.
Perfect. Kaira, how are you celebrating after this mission?
I feel like I'm bringing the crew out for drinks. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I really want to do is interview Razu, because they said that their family knew the building. So it would be like a great expose to be like, your grandfather built this and then you saved it.
Love it. Max, how about you?
Max is probably similarly at a different table at the same bar, playing cards and stuff and trying to regale everybody. And I kid you not, Vrock's arm got stuck in the mech. Camus is over there trying to tight spiral the demolition right through the hole I just blew. And she's having a great time. She's so loving it, living large.
Cabus, how about you?
I think he's petting his drones. Maybe his hands pass through. They're not exactly solid, but okay, yeah. Good job.
We should pause. I just want to rewind a little bit. After all the dust settled from that explosion, Bubble did find their way out of the smoke. They're fine. You rolled a crit. I cannot take Bubble from you. Last but certainly not least, Rock. How does Rock celebrate his stunning success? Oh, sorry.
I had to go calibrate the weapon systems.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Vrock. Vrock, we see a scene with Vrock, and somehow, through some happenstance, he manages to have hooked up with those two Vorcha from earlier who are both still alive.
Good.
And he is just sharing further stories of embarrassing tales of what, like, when his brother Vrick wet the bed and various other things. He's also got a book of medieval poetry and art with them, and he's sort of like catching them and sharing his interests with them.
Love it. They're also experts, by the way. They're not in that. They have their own interests. I think one of them is way into jazz music, and the other one is just like a cinephile, big film buff. And so, lots of cultural exchange happening here. For sure. I think a final note here as things come to a close. And first of all, thank you all for joining us. It's been a blast. Very soon after this happens, the fighting inside of that district comes to a close. Not necessarily because the sides came to any sort of clear final agreement with each other about any of the core issues, but it turns out that some third party, was really fanning the flames on both sides. Perhaps Project Galahad felt that it needed, a source of fresh bodies, more and more mercs coming in over and over again. And with that taken care of, the war in Demos sector comes to a close, and people are able to get back to life. Thank you again for everyone who's joined us. Boldwin, where can people find you on the internet? Let's go around and if anyone wants to plug anything or shout anybody out or shout anything out, now is the time. So Boldwin, go ahead.
I'm on Twitter at Boldwin_Li. I made that account maybe a month ago, so I'm a pretty big deal.
Perfect. Mark, how about you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Mark Meer. That's Mr. Mark Meer. On Twitter at Mark_Meer. I'm on Cameo for the shout outs and all your Mass Effect catchphrase related needs. And actually recently I've started a podcast, a Vampire the Masquerade podcast with some very fine folks, our storytellers, Mathis Games. And it's called Stitch of Fate, a podcast by night. You can find it on pretty much every major podcast listening platform, and new episodes drop every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Perfect. Jennifer, where can people find you on the internet? Do you have anything you want to plug?
I am on Twitter. I am at JHale Tweets. On Instagram, I am at JHaleGram. That's GRAM, not like the cracker. And then I have 2 new songs out. Well, I have a song I released in July called Never. You can find it anywhere. You just search Never, Jennifer Hale. And then my new song is Sea of Stars. And the link for that is in my Instagram and my Twitter. And you can also, it's on all the platforms. It's Apple Music, Google Music, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Just Jennifer Hale, Sea of Stars. So I'm so excited about those singles. I love them.
Perfect. Ali?
You can find me over on Twitter at Ali_West. And you can find me and Austin at Friends of the Table, which is an actual play podcast we have. Currently, I'm playing a fish person who sucks. I've also played.
That's true.
I've also played like a pop idol who is a mech star and a cat girl and evil
all
warrior.
The most evil warrior, all the a cool stone blacksmith, like a marble made blacksmith in a like industrial fantasy world. It's all great.
Check it out.
Let's go to Kat, and then Mark. I know you have one more thing, but Kat, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Velocitrina on Twitter, and in like true shout out nature, I'm just gonna shout out my brother. Thanks for letting me play your copy of Mass Effect so long ago. It worked out real good for me.
And Mark, one more thing.
Oh, yes, one more thing. Of course, like everyone who plays role-playing games, I've been playing a lot online during this pandemic, and I've actually started GMing some games over at Sword and Scroll, who are the folks behind D&D in a Castle. So I've been running some Dungeons & Dragons games, and I've also been running Call of Cthulhu with my lovely wife, Belinda Cornish. And so you can go to Sword and Scroll, and membership is required to sign up to play the games, but there's lots of great DMs, B. Dave Walters, many other folks who you will know from the Twitch and whatnot. So please do check out Sword and Scroll.
Awesome. And as Ali said, she and I do Friends at the Table, which you can find at friendsathetable.net. You can support us at friendsathetable.cash, which will take you to our Patreon. I really like the show that we do. If you enjoyed today, I really hope that you give Friends at the Table a shot. There is an episode 0 that has all the recommendations on where you could hop on. We've done fantasy seasons, sci-fi seasons. Our current season is about very compromised people living in a space empire, piloting mechs against each other using a system called Beam Saber by Austin Ramsey. It's probably my favorite season we've done, like front to back. It's been a blast. So people should give that a shot if they enjoyed this today. And again, thank you to everyone here in the game. I had a blast running it, and thank you again to everyone on the back end, Mad and John especially for really pushing for this, and everyone who helped make Omniblades in the Dark, Noel Borstad, Benin Holmes, Mika Usnaki, and John Renish. And again, thanks to John Harper for designing Blades in the Dark, which this is a hack of. I hope people who enjoyed this and maybe didn't know that games like this existed, go check out Blades in the Dark and other Forged in the Dark games. There's a whole world of tabletop RPGs out there, ranging from stuff that's very kind of traditional to stuff that's really experimental. I would be remiss if I didn't use this moment to tell people, just go to itch.io and click on physical games and look at the world of tabletop stuff that's out there that is open to new players, that takes a different tack in terms of what you can do with storytelling at the table. Role-playing games are a huge part of my life and have been a huge part of getting through, I think, coronavirus with everybody else and getting through lockdown. So if you're out there and you're like, I'd love to try something new, go check out any of those great games out there, and I hope you find something to enjoy. With that, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So please enjoy the rest of your N7 day and have a good one.
Thank you.
Happy N7 day.
Thanks, everybody.